Hello and welcome back to Podcast 572. I am your host, as always, Kyle, and I'm joined by my two friends, Dan and Matt. And we're going to do what we do each week. We're going to talk about the games we've been playing and talk about the news and then read more of your emails, which I'm happy and excited to report. We got more GameStop emails. So please keep sending those in. What do people want, apparently? So, and I want, once again, really quick before we start, I want to shout out again to our guest on the last episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, Ryan Nee Miller. It was a fantastic conversation. Easily the best episode of this show that we've had. So,
right. Yeah.
Still unbelievable that we had him on, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, and that's all thanks to Matt. That's all thanks to Matt.
That's all him.
Sure.
I had
all
nothing
Matt.
to do with
You're welcome.
That guy.
You're welcome.
Or anything.
If you're famous or even semi-famous, find Matt on Twitter. Let us know.
I'll track you down.
Yeah, Matt will find you. Yeah.
All right, so why don't we dig into what we've been playing? I'm going to start off with a really good one, because I got it, and I'll explain the story because I got a good deal on it, and that's WWE 2K22.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Halo.
No, we're not talking about Halo this week.
Good.
No, Halo's done for a while. So WWE 2K22, and I'll explain the story. There is a Walmart close to where both Dan and I live that for whatever reason, and it doesn't make sense to me, they keep clearancing games, like newer-ish games.
Well, I have a theory about this. It's like that Walmart specifically went through like a major redesign, where it was taking them, a lot of Walmarts go through redesigns, but that one was taking like a long time. Okay. And for the longest time, like the game section just didn't exist. So my theory is when they finally got that section set back up, they realized a ton of this stuff is old. Some of it is damaged because I bought some of the games there on clearance where like the seals are slit.
The seals are kind of slit, but the game's still in it. So
right, so some of the stuff is like damaged or whatever, and I really feel like they just had way too. I mean, you saw how much stuff was there. They had way
it's
too
absurd
much stuff for that case. Well, I went there like a week ago. It's over. Like all
it's
the
over.
Stuff,
okay.
It's pretty much gone. But
yeah, because I went 2 weeks ago and I got my lot of games, which I think I bought like 8 or 9 things.
I probably picked up like 8.
They're all between $5 to $10, and.
Yeah.
But the one I did buy, the one that we're talking about today, it was not $10. I actually got it for $20, and I caught them slipping. So what happened was in the stack of games, like they had it lined up, like a little vertical section of games. The very last one spined was WWE 2K22, the most recent one. And right above it, literally right above it, the next shelf facing you are the copies of WWE 2K22 for $60. And so I saw it, I pulled it out, saw the $20 price tag. So I look at it. I look at the game on the shelf because the clerk just opened the thing, was like, just grab what you want. And so I looked at it. I looked at the thing. I looked at her and I was like, can you scan this for me? And she's like, sure. And scans it. She's like, it's $20. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy that.
Yeah, so, those people don't care.
I got it for $20. It is fucking fantastic. Like I did not play the disastrous 2K20. I think that was the last one they made, right? Was 20 because they skipped 21.
Yeah, they skipped 21.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the last one I played was 19, maybe.
Newer than me.
Okay. And so this one, like the stuff that they've done, and there's certain aspects of it that you can kind of look at. Like sometimes when you're doing different grapple moves, the game does a little bit too much of it for you. Like you'll go ahead and like press the button combo, and then it just kind of goes into like what I'd call simulation mode, where it's like, okay, we're gonna do this move. Like you don't really control that. But like outside of that, the only like glitch I've had is my PS5 crashed once, like playing the game. But that seems like it happens with every modern game on the PS5. But I've not had anything crazy like 2K20 level where like people are falling through floors and like morphing into shit.
I remember those.
Nothing, like literally nothing like that. The first thing I did in this game was actually ran through the GM mode, which I'll say like the GM mode's fine. It's a little bare bones. I was able to play through it like within a couple hours. So I kind of just
that's like the book your show type stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah,
you can actually play the matches. I just simulated everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching. Woods has up, down, down, and he and Breeze are playing that again together, which is like the best thing they do. And because Breeze is,
they probably play the matches though, right?
No, they watch them. They don't. At most, they watch them.
They watch them. Okay.
It's all about booking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I ran through like a season of that or whatever you want to call it. And then right now I've been playing the story mode with like your created character. But it was surprising. Like I didn't realize this is the first time ever that they've done a female create a story. Apparently,
no, you could
That's
be
what I
a
read.
female in 20. I want to say
Not for the story mode though.
no, you could.
You could. Okay,
I swear. Matt
That's what
probably
they're
know better
billing-
than me, but
that's what
I
they're
want to
billing
say
in here.
watch someone.
I want to say I believe in 20 you could play as a female, but I also might be
wasn't
totally
it like
wrong because
wasn't it like you were a brother and a sister or something?
Yes.
Maybe now that I think about it.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
what I
it's like-
said, something like that.
Or
But you
best
couldn't
friends or
really,
something.
but you couldn't really like customize the characters as much or something. Maybe that's what it was.
It might have
So,
been
I
there
think
was
that
something
one
goofy with it.
more. That one was much more scripted. I think might have been the problem. More like
Yeah,
Not only
This
that,
is
but
straight-
20 was a
this
dumpster
is straight
fire,
up.
dude. So I mean, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
well, there's that too. Yeah.
this
irrelevant.
this is straight up like the males, the male mode just with a female wrestlers, and it's really awesome. It's like you can create your wrestler just like you would, if you're playing as a dude. And that's what I've played like it's probably the thing I played the most in the last week, honestly. Like I've dumped a lot of time into that. But it's been awesome. They go really into depth with like the social media aspect of it. So like you're, tweeting the other wrestlers and getting into fights over social media. And then like that's kind of how the storylines play out. The only other thing I'll point out, and like I don't know how much either of you've seen or played the game, but like Shawn Michaels in this game, he looks terrible. Like I don't know how they did his like face like transfer into the game, but it does not look like him at all. It did not translate well. It sounds like him, but it did because it's his voice, obviously, but it does not look like him at all. So, but it's been fantastic. Like I've always enjoyed, like, I think I started replaying, like for modern wrestling games. I think I started with 2K15. I think that's when we were kind of getting back into wrestling, at least Dan and I.
Yeah.
And I've kind of played at least the story mode of each one every year with the exception of 2K20. So, but no, it's just a fantastic package. And like for $20, I can't complain. So the price that I probably would have gotten like a couple months on the game anyways. So,
Oh yeah. Well, like I told you guys, if it drops to that kind of price, definitely snag it. It's worth. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm okay with the price tag I played for, like I bought it for. But even if it was lower, I still would have been okay with getting it too.
The only other thing I'll say on it, because I'm playing the PS5 hard copy, so it's the PS5 version. It's clearly a PS4 game because like the loading times aren't great on PS5. And also the other thing is like, at least on the PS5, like all the matches and stuff run at 60 frames, but the minute you hit like a cutscene or an interview or something, it is a 30 frames. So it's like kind of jarbled that way. And it looks kind of goofy at times, but otherwise it's been a blast. So that's been a lot of fun. I'll go through the other things I've played quickly here. For whatever reason, I finished what was the Trek I was working on? I'm trying to remember now. What did I talk about last week? I finished it. Oh, the werewolf game.
Oh, yeah.
I was about to say, yeah.
The werewolf game. The werewolf game, I'll just say, like, it is exactly what I expected. It's your bad 360 era game where, like, it just all falls apart at the end. So the very last mission of that game, I'm fighting some enemy off this ledge, and this dude just kept fucking knocking me off a ledge, and that was very frustrating. In a game where this has not happened for like the 8 hours I played it.
Right.
There's never been a situation like this, but for whatever reason, at the end of this game, I'm on an oil rig for some reason. So I don't know.
Sure.
It's easy to get all the achievements in. Like it's if you can find it for like $15, it's worth looking at, but it's not anything like I would say very special. But I finished that, and for whatever reason, like I keep watching these top 10 lists and stuff on YouTube, people talking about this specific game. It's one that it came out, I avoided it, I looked at it, and mostly because I think the protagonist in the game is not something I'm interested in. So I kind of wrote the game off, but I've decided to try Days Gone. And because I think the biker character is trash. Like,
that's something I've had a copy.
And I love Sons of Anarchy. You think I would like that?
Yeah, that's
for whatever reason,
true. Actually, you think you would.
But like for whatever reason, that character the protagonist doesn't interest me. I'll say after playing like 2 hours of it, I still don't care for the protagonist. But everything else about it is fantastic. And that's the thing, like, especially if you have a PS5, it's one of those games they up to 60 frames and like it looks stunning for a game that came out a couple years ago. I think it's on the same level as like stuff coming out today. It's really cool. Like the world, there's a pretty good like world building around it. There's like this cultish type. There's almost like if you think of something like Mad Max, like there's like another faction that's warring with you. It's kind of crazy. But then they have zombies in the world. They're called freakers. which has been done before. But I wouldn't really say they're like your typical zombies. Like they run, they can climb shit. That was the first thing that surprised me. Was like I climbed this building because I was like, oh, they won't get me up here. Fucking 3 of them climbed the building. She started attacking me. So the only other thing I'll say is when I first started playing the game, obviously you playing as a biker, so a big part of the game is you're going to drive a motorcycle. Right. When I first started it, like the motorcycle driving, it seemed too slow to me. But as I've played a little bit more, it's better. So, but yeah, and that's a game. I think they gave it out on Plus a while ago, so that's how I have it. But also, if you have Plus, it's part of that like collection thing, anyway. So like you can get Days Gone basically for free if you have PlayStation Plus.
That's something I've had for a really long time too, and it's just kind of sat on my shelf. And I thought it always was one of those things where like I'll get to it at some point. And
it's the protagonist. That's the thing. Where every time I look at it, I'm like,
care.
I just don't care. Like,
yeah, and I think the problem with that game too is it was sandwiched in between like Last of Us 1 and 2, so it was like, oh, they're just gonna, somebody's just making another zombie game. It's different but the same, and you're like, well, it's kind of overload at that point. But now that it's been a while, I don't think
they marketed it well, because like when it came out, like it did okay, but it didn't do well enough for them to make a sequel, because that's been kind of the thing.
Well, isn't that they were gonna make one, but they basically told them, no, you're done.
Yeah, you have to make basically you have to make this now, which we don't know what that is yet.
PlayStation 1 siphon filter trophies is what they had.
That's exactly what they did. So but no, like so I've only played like 2 hours of it, but I'll talk more about it next time, because I'm gonna dive more into it this weekend.
Yeah.
Another big one. I started it last night because I've been waiting to play with a friend. And the first impressions are not great. And that is Sniper Elite 5. So backstory I'll give you on this is I played me and my buddy, we've played every Sniper Elite on PC, and that's key to this conversation. This one, it's out on Xbox and it's out on PC if you have Game Pass. It's out everywhere, but it's on Game Pass. So that's, we both have Series X, so we decided to start it. As someone who's played all those games, and this might be an issue that's unique to me and my friend more than anybody else, but as somebody who's played all those games, playing with a keyboard and mouse and then trying to play it with a controller, very jarring. So that's not lending it. But there's one key thing about the Sniper Elite series that for whatever reason they've just screwed up in this game, and that is when you go into like the bullet time mode and you're going to snipe the person, where it's going to go into that slow motion kill cam, you can see the x-ray and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the
reticle is supposed to get tinier until it gets to a certain point where it's like, okay, this is the perfect point to make your shot. It does not do that in this game. And
that's weird.
It's the kind of thing where like my buddy and I stumbled through the first mission last night, and then we both kept asking like, why is that not working? And then he immediately went back to the older ones because he was like, maybe I'm going crazy. No, I'm not. We tried playing some of the like survival mode in there just to see maybe it's like a perk or something you unlock now, but it seems like they just changed that. So that part of it's kind of a bummer, but we both collectively decided after we played it is a play anywhere game. So we're just going to switch over to PC and just play it there because we're used to the control scheme that way.
Sure.
So I'll have more to say about that as well. But like first impressions so far, it looks amazing graphically. I'll say that. Like it's by far the best looking one of those games, but the just everything else about it, a little rough around the edges. Also, you have to pay for the Hitler mission in this one. That's paid DLC.
How much?
You kill Hitler in every one. $6. So it's kind of thing where it's like, I get it, but like, come on. Like that's a main thing in every one of these games. This dude's killed Hitler so many times.
Well, that's probably why they feel like they can make you pay for it. Because you want it.
So, two other things I'll talk about, and then one I'll talk about because I know that you tried it as well. But before we get to that, I'll briefly talk. I don't have much to say about this, but Splitgate Season 2 finally started. I jumped into it last night. I played maybe like 2 matches while I was waiting for my buddy to get on. Still an amazing game, still great. Things I want to point out. 1, they changed the ranking system. It's much better now. And 2, and this is the thing I think that's most comical, the game has a map editor and creator. Think about that.
Hey,
this game has a map editor and creator when your direct competition still can't even get a co-op mode.
Time Splitters 2 had a map editor
exactly.
and creator.
Exactly. So, I don't know if, to be fair, I have no idea if
it was really good.
It's good or not, but I had nothing but good things to say about Splitgate. It's still an amazing game. And then the other last game I want to touch on, and then I'll mention the other game that I think you've played as well, so you can talk about it a little bit. Nun Massacre. So I talked about early in the podcast, I think before you had joined us, Matt, a game called Murder House. And so these people have a new game out. It's called Nun Massacre. It's first person. It's out on everything. It's out on the Xbox, PlayStation. I think it's out on as well. It's on PC. It's basically you running around in like a monastery being chased by like a demonic nun. That's the game.
Sure.
But it's PS1 style graphics. When the nun gets close to you, it has that like scratchy VHS, like the VHS tapes going bad, like type of like thing to like effect toward it. It's really good. It's really well done. So I did like 2 runs of it this morning, and I love it. It's only $5. Like it's not expensive by any means. So it's same company, Puppet Combo. And I love Murder House. That's a game I played through like 3 or 4 times last fall. So this is cool. It's different. It's not like Murder House, but just a fantastic $5 game. So last thing I'm going to mention, and I'll turn it to Dan because you tried it as well, Diablo Immortal.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say. So I downloaded it. I created my character.
What are you playing on?
iPhone.
Okay.
I have not tried the PC version. I'm actually going to look at that this weekend. So
yeah,
I tried it with the touch controls. You know, I ran through like the first little area, killed some people. I think I leveled up to level 2, and I was like, this seems pretty cool. I'll come back to it when I attach my backbone, because I have one of those backbone controllers. But I have not done that yet. I literally have just been busy. So I didn't have a bad experience, but apparently from what you told me, you've had a bad experience with Diablo Immortal. So I'm going to turn it to you.
Start at the beginning with Diablo Immortal, where basically, you know, this was the game that they announced. Everybody wanted Diablo 4, then they announced this. Everybody booed them. But I always thought it was a good idea because Diablo probably, you know, could work really well on especially these days, mobile devices.
Exactly.
So when I saw it was coming out, I'm like, all right, sure, downloaded it. And then that's when you get into the part where you really have to download it because there's like 12 additional packs of stuff to download.
Yeah.
For an iPhone game, this game it's 13 gigs for an iPhone game, which isn't a big deal. You know, I just got my new iPhone finally.
What do you have? Like a 128? I got the
13 Pro Max 256. Like it's
okay. Yeah,
I got a big boy. So like because I didn't want to run into problems with that kind of stuff. So
makes sense.
It's brand new, which means the battery's fresh, like all this kind of stuff. Download it. I'm like, oh man, I can play this for a while. Yeah, it's not going to kill my battery. Boot it up, make my character, run through like the first tutorial part. I'm only playing with the touchscreen controls, but I think it's actually pretty good. Like it's probably because the size of my phone is good for it.
Yeah.
Like if I had a backbone, I'd play with it for that way for sure. But the touch stuff isn't bad. But as I'm running through, I get to like the first like town like checkpoint thing, and it's like, oh, go back and go this way. I'm like, all right, go that way. I get a message popped up on my screen. It says like, we lost connection or whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. Strange, but okay. Considering I'm playing it, you know, within feet of my modem. And eventually it just like quits back to like the main screen. I'm like, all right, fine. Load back in. Progress is gone. Character's gone. It's like, that didn't happen. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't very far, so that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
but that's a problem.
Area. It is.
Create a new character. Yeah. Load.
Oh, it didn't even save your character.
No, it was gone. It was all gone.
Geez.
Okay.
Create a new character, which this time I just did it faster. I was like, yeah, I don't care what they look like. Continue. As it goes to load the character, and then the app just crashes. And I went, all right, I think I'm done for now. So
have you not tried it since then?
No, I haven't played it since. Which has been a couple of days, but you know, something happened where it lost connection, but for it to delete my character seems
that's absurd. Like I can understand losing connection.
I'd made progress, like I had gotten to what was conceivably a checkpoint, but then it was gone. So that's kind of a bummer. I'll go back to it because
because
it's not happening to everybody because I haven't seen it happening to everybody.
I just quickly loaded it up on my phone real quick to see, and like my character's still there. So
yeah. I don't know. It's probably just a weird thing.
Was it the first day when you tried it?
Yeah. Well, okay. and I also had spent time like literally downloading every extra pack thing, which that part of it is a long time.
Yeah,
13 gigs of stuff. That took forever.
Yeah, I let that do that while I was working because I'm like, this is absurd. Like,
yeah, it was weird. It took that long, but it's kind of whatever. I'll give it another shot later. I do want to try the PC version just because.
I kind of do too, and that's kind of where I'm at with it now. So I'm probably going to install it.
Yeah,
And it's supposed to bring you all your shit. I mean, not that it matters for you, obviously.
It doesn't matter for me.
It's supposed to bring all your shit over and back forth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Whatever. Other than that, the other stuff I've been playing recently, I'll talk about them just because I recently finished them, and for some reason I'm on some kind of kick. But I've been playing those some Lego games again.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Like
that.
The Lego DC one was free on like a Plus thing.
Okay,
and I just kind of had a taste to play through that, so I went through and I platinumed that and did all that. I forgot what a slog those things become towards the end.
Is that game kind of like a continuation of Lego Batman 3? Because that was the one where it opened up and it was like all the Justice League are here.
Kind of, yeah. It's just the opposite because it definitely focuses on villains. At the end of the day, it does have all the major heroes. It doesn't have everybody, but it's got major heroes and mostly villains. Like it's got everybody you'd want. It's even got the Calendar Man and even a lot more obscure people.
Okay.
But I forget what a slog those games turn into when you really want to finish them.
Yeah.
Especially ever since they went like open world.
Yeah,
it becomes like you got
considerably a lot
fly
more
around
involved.
and do stupid little tasks that don't necessarily make sense and all that kind of stuff. So I finished the DC one, got the platinum, was like, well, I'm still in this mode. I might as well try to finish another one that I've had forever. So I had that Lego Avengers game digitally for like a really long time.
And that's probably not a bad game either.
It's worse than that one.
It's worse. Okay.
Yeah, because it's not as easy to get around. It's older.
It's a better Avengers game than the Avengers game.
I don't know. They're both
okay.
Because again, it's a slog. Like you get to the part where like you're done playing the levels, and then you got to replay the levels.
Mm-hmm. Get all those red bricks.
Sometimes multiple times, get all the red and gold bricks and all the characters, and it's weird because as I was replaying them, it just really makes you realize like for being a Lego game, they're not really for kids. Like they're like kids that play these games aren't gonna get
are like 20 and
60 older. They're not gonna get 60% of the content unlocked without putting in the time and looking up guides and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of weird.
I think I jumped off on those games with the Lego Jurassic World because that was the one where I'm like, this is just too much.
I never touched that one. The other one I was kind of interested in and I might want to play at some point is the Incredibles one. Okay. I had finished Lego Marvel 2 last year, but even that wasn't as good as the first one. Like they've just been steadily going downhill. Like I'm not much of a Star Wars guy, but apparently the newest one is really good.
I've heard really good things about it, and then I realized like when it came out, that's the first one of those games in like 5 or 6 years.
Well, yeah, because I jumped off after I played a little bit of the last one, and that was I really feel like when it started to be too much. Remember when they released it where it had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and it was
now it's 1 through 9.
It's all of it.
And like my thing is like, well, I don't really care for the new trilogy. I don't really care for the prequel trilogy, so I'm left with the old. Like, I don't think I need to play it then.
Well, and by the time you're done, these games can take 40 to 50 hours.
Yeah,
like
easily.
Well, yeah, up to maybe much longer if you don't know what you're doing. So they're an investment. I just, for whatever reason, I don't know. I just kind of fell into a hole playing them because they were free and I'd had them forever. But other than that, the last main game I started, now that I kind of finished both of those, was I finally started Persona 5 Strikers.
And this interests me because you have not played Persona 5, right?
I played it when it originally came out. And I only ever played about like I finished the first palace for sure, and then I got like halfway through the second one. For whatever reason, I stopped playing. I don't know why. But I like Persona. I like I love the RPG style of that game is great, and the storytelling is great.
I have Strikers, and I obviously have it digitally too because it's on Plus now. But
and originally,
I have not played this.
What I was gonna do is I was gonna play Royal. Just because you
didn't get far enough in Persona 5. That's the version you should play.
Right, that would hurt it. Yeah, I was just going to play Royal at this point. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know if I want to play an RPG right now.
Exactly.
But I wanted to play, but I was like, well, Strikers is free. I have it. It's a digital thing I can install quickly, and it's very action based.
Yeah,
because I had this conception of when I saw it originally that it was like Dynasty Warriors, and that was intriguing to me.
That's what I assumed.
Oh, okay.
It's really... It isn't because it's not like you're in a big battlefield and there's just like thousands of dudes that spawn forever. Like there's guys like walking around patrolling, and then if you interact with one, then it turns into like 30 or 40 guys. Okay. And then it's action based. So like squares attack, triangle is special. You can call out your persona by holding R1. There's a lot of different stuff you can do. It's cool because you can play as all the other characters.
Okay.
So like you can switch between them at any given time. So like you can switch to like Anne or Ryuji or whoever you want.
Does it have the new character from Royal in it too, I assume?
No. So
okay.
At least I don't think so, because they added a girl to Royal, right?
Yeah, it's a girl. I don't know what her name. I didn't play Royal.
I think that's the red-haired one, but she's not.
Yeah. Okay.
But it has its own new characters.
That's what I've read. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I only have one of them so far. The other one, it's clear who it is, but they aren't part of the team yet.
It's a story that takes place after the.
It is a Persona 5. And I should not have played it because it is a direct sequel.
That's cool. It is. That makes me more excited to try it now.
Like by direct, I mean instant sequel. Like it is.
Okay,
this happens
that's cool.
When the first one ends, this one starts.
That's cool.
And it's cool because like they really, having not finished 5 or Royal, I know the story because I've read it and seen it and all this stuff. So it's not.
You can watch the anime.
Or there's that. Like I know how it goes. Yeah. So I'm not spoiling anything for myself because I already know what they are. But like, it's they kind of condense the story into like this is your summer vacation. Instead of palaces, there's jails, which are like smaller versions of those.
Yeah.
They have different rules than palaces do, so they behave differently. But then it's also got like a little bit of town exploration, nothing major, weapons and accessories and all that kind of stuff. And it's fun to play. Like it's actually really good, and like it's got all the same kind of like Persona stuff, like fusing personas, leveling them up, enemy weaknesses, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really good. I'm on the second jail. What's cool about this too is you can go back to other ones. Like that's part of the story. Is I had to go back to the first one to do more stuff.
Okay.
And then you could do that to like farm for personas, farm for items, money, whatever. But it's actually written into the storyline that
and it seems like
don't disappear.
It's got a pretty big length to it too, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've played a lot, and I'm in the second jail. And
Persona 5 took me 100 hours. So.
Yeah,
and that's why when they came out with the Royale, I'm like, I can't do that whole story again just to see a new character.
I don't think this will take me near as long as that, but like, it's quite a bit. And like running through a jail is go to different areas. There's some little puzzle solving, but it's really nothing.
Sure.
And you get to level up all the people separately, so you kind of want to switch people in and out. And then there's also like they're better in certain situations against certain bosses and all that kind of stuff. It's not, and it's this time they're stealing people's desires, and like so like the first jail is like this girl who she's a famous designer, and like everything's based off of like Alice in Wonderland. So when you go into her jail, it's all like Alice in Wonderland themed and all this kind of stuff. But it's pretty cool. I really like it a lot. I'm going to finish this.
I'll put it on my short list because I think the next thing I wanted to tackle was Ghostwire, but I might try this after that.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's a good. Like I said, I didn't want to play an RPG because the other thing I went back to now is I'm finally going to Platinum 7 remake.
Oh god!
Because I have to finish the hard playthrough. That's pretty much all I have to do.
And you're talking about doing that on the PS4 version, right?
Yes, because I want the double platinum.
So you won't get to see all the fun. Well, the thing
is, I do 4. I upgrade it to 5, pop the platinum, and then play the Yuffie stuff. Yeah,
so you'll get to see the upgraded version of that game at least a little bit,
right? I want to play the Yuffie stuff for sure. So I figured I pretty much have 4 done. Why not just platinum 4? Pop it and then play it and see what it looks like.
Play it on 5. Okay.
Yeah. So like I that's why I didn't want to play, not that 7 remake is like a hard RPG. It's still action based, but it definitely has more RPG mechanic type stuff than.
Well, I imagine the Hell House is like probably challenging.
I got to that on hard.
On hard. Is that where you stopped?
Okay. Yeah. The problem is I messed up because the big difference on hard is you have no items. Like you can't use items.
Yeah, no, that's
it's a bummer.
That's where I'd be.
It's not a big deal as long as you I didn't have a problem until I got there, but I screwed up the fights before it, and I don't have enough MP and items to make because the way the Hell House fight works, you have to have MP for it to work. So it kind of sucks because I can run in circles. So it's either A, going to take me forever to do it, or B, I can just restart the chapter because I have chapter skip now. So I'm just going to restart the chapter. But then there's other trophies that are a pain to get. Like you have to get all the dresses for all 3 characters. So essentially, you have to play through those 3 chapters 3 times.
I see.
It's stupid, but it's fine. It's not a big deal because thank God they added chapter skip. Like you can just kind of jump around. Yeah. But that's why I'm playing Strikers, and I think when I'm done with Strikers, this is going to make me want to play Royal. So I'm going to do that next.
Yeah. I mean, if like I said, for you, that's the perfect opportunity to play that version.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how about you, Matt? Excuse me.
Well, now I feel like I need to jump back into Persona 5.
Yeah, man. I mean, I forgot. Like playing Strikers made me remember like how much I just really like the characters in the story and just everything about the style of the game. Because it has a lot of the same music and stuff too, so I really need to go back and do it.
Yeah, that game.
Well, maybe I'll check it out sometime. In the plethora of games that I'm working through, I am still playing Tunic. Okay. And I got to a part now where I'm being attacked by these big ass gators, and I cannot, for the life of me, get through it. Like, I think I've died, I want to say at least 25 times. And like these guys are like no joke. They're just like attacking constantly. And it's like I got through part of it one time, but then I ran out of health. And it was like at that point, I got attacked by something super small and just died. And I was so pissed.
Since that game is like Zelda, you I assume get like different heart pieces to like get a larger life bar.
No.
Is it kind of like that, or is it's different?
No. Okay. Right. So it's different in that aspect. You have one life bar, you have like one agility type bar. And but you have like, your potions to get your life back and shit like that. So the potion ability grows. Like when I first started, I got 1. Now I've progressed a good bit. I'm at like 4 or 5, I think.
Okay.
So you can hold more as you keep going through it. It's just the portion, I want to say the potion probably gives you like 25% health, if at most.
Okay, so not very much.
It's not very much. So it's like it's a game where you have to like use your brain and kind of like tuck and roll and stuff like that. And it's just like it's good. I'm not gonna lie. If you get the chance, do tackle it. It's a lot of fun so far. It's
on my system.
Yeah, at this part, it's just like. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. But that's where I'm playing that. I did jump on Sniper Elite 5 because I didn't play a lot of Sniper Elite 4. I have it on the PS4, but then I saw 5 was coming out and you talked about it. And I was like, well, you know what? Let's try just jumping in 5. Because, I mean, it didn't really feel like you had to arc all the stories to kind of get into it.
No, it's a game where like that doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what, let's just jump into 5 since I didn't get a chance to finish 4. But I played a good bit of 4, and I really liked the bullet time, which was really what dragged me into 5.
Yeah.
So
that is the best part of the game.
So your qualm with 5 is something I never really noticed in 4.
Exactly.
So I can't really say
you probably
like
never noticed it.
I can't really say like it bugs me like it bugs you guys because I haven't been impacted the way you guys have played all of them.
Sure.
But
for sure.
I just love the fact that I can shoot this person's face off of their face and I can just see the joy of go through that. Dude, I love it so much. And like in this one, I hit somebody with an eye shot and I was like, what? Like I was super
We shot
stoked,
one of those like some of those like enemies are like using spotlights. So we shot a guy through the spotlight and then it x-rayed the spotlight getting destroyed and then the bullet going through that into this dude's neck.
Yes, dude, that was so sick. I love that part.
It's cool.
It's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I've been having a good time with it. And then randomly, I just bought a gaming PC not long ago, and so like I'm trying to like get my like stuff together to start stream and stuff like that. And I decided to try out Sims 4.
Okay, that's the current
my wife.
One, right? They have
Yeah, my wife was really big into Sims 3. My oldest daughter really liked Sims 4. And so like I was like, you know what, let's just plug this in. I am not good at those games, but
I never have been either, to be fair.
I've been trying to build this house for like an hour. Dude, this is so tedious, man. They're like, you have to build the walls, you have to build the floor. I'm like, I don't have patience for this, man. I need even like my original house being built. Like, I was like, y'all need to hurry it up. So
it's funny though, because like my wife plays Sims a lot too. So I don't, and like I try it every so often, but I can't play it for more than like an hour or so. But
I think it's the thing where you had to grow up with it.
And I think maybe that's it. Like I did have Sims 1 for PC, and I did play a lot of Sims 1, but I stopped kind of after that one.
Yeah. This was kind of like, to me, it was a novelty at the time, but I was like,
I played every Sim game there was when that was out. Like, but
I think my favorite thing is Sim City,
Sim Tower, Sim City. I played a ton of
Sim City, Sim Tower.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too is like, if I was going to play Sims, like, why wouldn't I just play Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, remake Roller Coaster Tycoon and make me happy. That's all. I want.
Stop. They keep trying to do that and failing, so let's not.
But that's kind of where I'm at. I'm hopefully gonna try to finish Tunic this week so I can move myself into something else. And I'm gonna play some more Sniper Elite 5 and blow some Nazis' faces off.
Yeah, like I said,
kind of enjoy myself.
Me and my buddy are planning to this weekend as well. So I have to get it installed on the PC here. But more to come on that for sure. Probably the next podcast we'll dive a little deeper into that. So that's it for you. To have anything else you've been playing?
No, not really. I plugged in Warzone just to see if I was decent at it.
Did you get into it at the time that the Godzilla event was going on, or did you miss that?
No, I missed all that, man. It didn't make any sense. Don't put Godzilla and King Kong in this game. Jesus.
Yeah, it just it looked like a weird event to me for sure, and it also seems like it's a year too late because that movie came out last year.
Yeah. Like, why would you do it this far? And it's just, I don't know. Like, it's not bad, but it's just one of those things where it's also like, you know what? I don't really like. It's not a big deal either. Like,
doesn't really fit the Call of Duty setting.
It doesn't. I mean, no, it's not.
Like military men shooting at each other and then big monsters fighting in the background. Like, I don't know. Well,
it didn't make any sense.
Then we'll move on to the news. It doesn't make any sense at all. We'll move on to the news because that's probably going to be one of the biggest portions of the show. So, there's a lot to go through. We got a state of play to talk about. As well as a bunch of other stuff. I think we'll just go down the list and we'll start with the first thing. I know you added this, Dan, so why don't you tell me about Microsoft's cloud gaming dongle?
The dongle.
The dongle.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that I know you and I have talked about. We may have mentioned it on here before too, but like, obviously the way Xbox is going with all like the cloud stuff doesn't it just make sense for them to
have a streaming stick?
A streaming stick. I mean,
exactly.
Fire 6 can do it. Roku's can do it. Like,
exactly.
They can, and like your phone can do it. So why can't a stick plugged in your TV can do it too? So like, this is something that like, they say it's pretty far off because I mean the cloud stuff's still in beta and all this other stuff. It's gonna be a beta.
I could see it as something like maybe end of next year.
Maybe, yeah. I would say that's probably the earliest I would see it come out. But like,
it makes sense though.
It makes a lot of sense. And like, if there's some way where like, if you've got an Xbox in one room of the house, it works better because it's on like the same network as that or something. Maybe that helps too. But like, imagine just being able to plug a stick into your TV at this point. You don't have to plug it into anything else. But like, a that and just grab an Xbox controller and you've got Game Pass on your TV. That's incredible.
They would just sell it like Chromecast or not Chromecast, but the Google Stadia at that point.
But at least it's an established name that will work.
Yeah,
and
it'll work because the cloud stuff works,
and it has a library built in, and like it's incredible. Like it's such a good idea. Because again, they don't necessarily care about selling you the system; they care about the service and getting you in the network, right? Yeah. And this just seems like a really plus like the cost of that is going to be so much less. They can produce so much more of those.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing too, where like, even if you're a Sony person and you have a PS5 and you don't necessarily want an Xbox, if you could get a stick that plugs into your TV for $80 and just have to pay for a service, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would do that.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. It's exciting just because that's where it's going anyway. But
Yeah,
for them to kind of give
for sure.
a little bit more information on it made me feel better, because now I really kind of don't need a Series X system.
Not if you can wait that long.
Well, not I can. Oh, I still, like I said, I sold my One X. That still works, and like I can cloud stream stuff to that. So
you can.
Don't need the system, but like a stick would be great to just put on my TV upstairs.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
And I mean, I'm sure it would work, and they would have it built in. You can use other apps on it too, like a Roku.
I imagine it would just be the storefront I have on my Xbox right now, just on this stick, because everything would just go through that.
Yeah. That would be the smoothest
I don't think they
move.
would cut you off from that.
And maybe make it like have some storage or something in it too, so like you could download one game to it or something.
That's probably honestly why it's taking longer, because they're trying to figure that out.
Right.
Because it doesn't be theoretically put into
I don't think it has to be a lot of storage. I think if they give you enough space on like a stick that's streamed to also install like one or two games you might be like currently playing, that would just be beneficial to.
It would, for sure.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Cool.
No, it's a cool idea for sure. Following up that, I'll let you talk about the next one too, because I haven't looked into it. Is the Pokemon details? So
yeah,
I don't know anything about this Pokemon game.
So Scarlet and Violet, those are the new ones. You know that at least. But they just put out the new trailer, trying to highlight some more of the new stuff. And like the biggest bombshell, like they showed like the two new, gym leaders, which everybody on the internet has a hot for.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah, and then they showed a couple other like the Pokemon that'll be in the game, like the little pig dude and some other guys. But the biggest thing, and this is incredible, this finally tells me that these are like new Pokemon games and not just Sword and Shield, like Sword and Shield were like the Switch versions of 1-2 would have bought on a 3DS. With like an open area and stuff added to it. But these have 4-player co-op, and it's not just cool. It's not just for like. You can come in and we can stand in one area in my game kind of a thing. This is like you can play the game together, which is incredible.
It's cool, but is it going to work on the Nintendo network?
Well, I mean, as long as they're limiting it to like just the 4 of you and not necessarily like you're in a world with 12,
you're in like
100
some
other people.
World. Yeah.
I think it'd be fine. Yeah. But 4-player like actual co-op, like exploring different areas, like. That's what that game needs to be.
It's a shakeup that needs to happen for, I think, a franchise that hasn't. I don't think that franchise has progressed.
My thought that I've had about Pokemon for like a decade, ever since I kind of jumped off, was like, why didn't they make Pokemon Online a long time ago? Like for the Wii U or something. Where like, if you think about like the very concept of Pokemon, like the thing or like the anime or whatever it is like. You're a person in this world. There are other people in this world. You're all kind of doing the same thing, working to achieve the same goal. Mm-hmm. You're meant to run into other people. Like it just kind of it had this like natural, like, I don't want to say MMO because you can't have 2,000 people running around, but it had this very natural, like 16-player instance worlds or something like that could have just existed. And they could have just been like, you pick an area you start in, like the Kanto region or the Hoenn region. You pick a starter like you would in the game, and then you just go out and play, and like other people are playing. This seems like a step in the right direction, but I still would love to see like a true like Pokemon Online game where like like I don't want to say like Final Fantasy 14, but you understand what I'm saying. Like you'd log in as your character. And you're in the world, and you just go do stuff, and then they could make quests, and they could, if you want
more like Phantasy Star.
Yeah, that's actually probably a better. That's actually probably a better.
That's more of like where I'm looking at it,
right? But like you could have quests, or like if you wanted to breed Pokemon and sell them, you could. Like like there's so many different ways it could go.
Yeah, for sure.
With all of the stuff they've added, so this is a good step. I still think we need to go
further.
And the thing is like because if they made it an MMO or Phantasy Star or whatever, then come the monthly subscriptions. And you can't tell me that if they made a game like that was that big in scope and had all of that stuff to do, people wouldn't pay $8 a month, $10 a month. Of course they would.
Easily. On top of it, Nintendo.
On top of the Switch, of course they would.
Yeah.
It would be unbelievable.
Sure.
Like not to say that that franchise doesn't make money as it is, but like That's just extra revenue. And that could always be like the game that always exists. And then there's the iteration ones for like Scarlet, Violet, whatever. But then this one gets an update. We've added a new region. We've added a new thing. Like Pokemon Go, they try to get that. That's kind of what that is in like, quote unquote real life. But like if you made it a game you could play at your house, monthly subscriptions forever, $10 a month, easy. But I don't know. It makes me more interested in it. I'll have to find people that play it, but
I was gonna say I need to find 4 Switch friends then.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like maybe that's the reason. That's the time I finally buy my kid a Switch because she's starting to play Animal Crossing and stuff on her own, where I don't have to like read everything or any of that kind of stuff. She can play it. So like this would be a good way to get her into Pokemon. Would be like the new one, and we could play together, kind of a thing. So
yeah,
that's why I'm looking at it for.
Oh, that makes sense.
Next story, I don't think we have to speak too much on it, but John Madden is on the cover of Madden. What is it, 23?
Yeah, so Madden 23, obviously he passed away in December. I just thought this was good because like
it is. He's
on the cover. Maybe he's just on the cover forever now. or maybe
this is the last
maybe this is the last football. Quote unquote Madden football.
Yeah.
And they just move it to NFL, like because they've been talking about that for a while, and like do they really want to keep licensing his name forever? Probably not. But the other thing is like I'm happy they're putting him on the cover, but if it's just the same fucking football game again, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Because they put out like their stupid trailers, and we've got field sense just like Madden would have done, and it tells you nothing. And then it says it comes out in July. Don't they have
that story mode that they started adding a couple of years ago?
They killed it. Like they killed it. Okay. I played it the first year it came out, and it was actually pretty good. The second year they couldn't figure out a way to continue the logical progression. And then they just
was it a continuation of the previous years, or was it?
It was.
Okay.
So it didn't really make any sense.
Okay.
But I don't know. As someone who used to play Madden all the time, like I could care. That was the last thing I played was the story mode of that one year when we changed it. That was it.
Well, one more smaller thing, and then we'll get to the big state of play we can go through, and that's Sonic Frontiers gameplay.
Yeah.
I know you're excited about Sonic Frontiers, or as I like to call it, the tech demo, where they haven't figured out what they're making yet.
Like, watching him run around and, like, grind on stuff and stuff was cool. Like, it looked good. But somehow that world looks emptier than Breath of the Wild.
It does.
And I don't get it. They haven't made a good Sonic 3D game, and some people would say ever, but I would
Adventure.
I like Adventure too.
People really like Colors, right?
That's not 3D though. Like that's still like
that one's not 3D.
That's still like point A to point B kind of a thing. Adventure.
What was the one on the Wii U that was too slow?
Oh,
that
God.
should have been good, because I remember we tried it. It was on the kiosk.
It was on the kiosk, and it was
like
bad.
Just really slow for a Sonic game. Like the whole point of it's speed.
Yeah, I forget what it was.
He was
like
running
weird,
through molasses.
It was like we were running on like a rotating thing, and like it just like it really felt like he was going half speed, and I was just like, well, I guess I don't care about this one either.
Yeah, that's kind of been my experience.
And it wasn't Boom. It wasn't Boom. It was
Boom was just hilarious.
Yeah, Boom is the notoriously bad one.
The famous Game Grumps track,
right? Yes,
that's a great one. Still excellent. You'll have to look and tell me, because I don't remember.
Lost World.
Okay,
yeah, that game sucked. But yeah, like it's just. I like the way the world looks. I like how I
do too.
It just looks traversal and stuff was good, but like there was nothing. Apparently they put out like a him fighting enemies trailer today. I haven't watched it, but like
I haven't either. So
I need a point to that game. Like it had little like puzzle solving things, which seemed really basic. So I just
the real question is, will there be a human lady in this one?
I mean, they just put Sonic 06 back up. So
but it's not playable on new consoles. That you have to play it on 360.
That's fine. I mean, if you want Sonic,
I'm one of those fucked up people. I was gonna buy it digitally because I'm like, I've never played Sonic 06.
Sonic to kiss a lady? Yes or no?
See, I've seen like
you've seen
YouTube,
him kiss
but I've never experienced myself. Right. So
I don't think many people have, because you'd have to beat that game. I think
it's the end of that game. I'm pretty sure
that game is rough.
But I got excited that one morning it got announced. I'm like, I'm gonna go and buy this, and then I went and looked. I couldn't find it, and I realized you have to hook up.
Yeah,
your
it's not like it's back compat or something. I'm
not gonna do that. So
no,
they're not.
Which is crazy.
I know.
I just watched Sonic 2 this afternoon.
That movie's great.
Oh, the movie? I have not watched the movie.
The movie's
yet,
good.
So.
Movie's
Mostly
fantastic.
Every time I mention my girlfriend, we end up watching something else. So.
They need to pump those things out as fast as possible before the hype dies. But
yeah, definitely.
I will say, as someone who watches every video game movie on principle,
they are some of the best.
Those two are some of the best. Yeah. Like, it's weird, but they really are.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it looks good. I'm interested, but I don't know what the game is, so who cares?
All right, well, why don't we talk about the big, huge thing that happened this week, which is Sony had their State of Play. We'll say this is their E3 because that's what it is. They had their E3 showing.
This is what they would have shown. Yeah.
For me, and I think you agree with me, it was a bummer.
Mostly because
it was weird. And one of the biggest things for me is like no God of War 2. And I think that tells me it's next year.
I think that tells me it's next year and it gets its own thing.
I think it gets its own State of Play later this year. But I think if it was coming out this year, I think they would have shown a brief trailer here and said later this summer we're going to talk about it.
They got to start now
or something.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that they didn't even mention it is fucking weird. So I don't think that game's out until like March, April of next year. The other thing that was weird to me in this is like it started with Resident Evil, which we'll talk about that in a minute.
Let's go down the row in order.
Well, they showed, and I want to talk about this part because this is the other part of it that was weird to me is they showed 4 trailers after Resident Evil because that was the first thing they showed, and we'll circle back to Resident Evil in a second for VR2 stuff.
Right.
They have not shown this fucking
didn't show it.
They have not announced the price. They didn't talk about it.
There's no date.
And 2 of those games come out this year.
They spent
time. It has to come out this fall.
They spent time having the guy who's making the Horizon game come onto the screen and
talk about it.
Check this shit out. It's Horizon in VR. And then that was it. It was just over.
It was so bizarre. And I don't get it.
If you want to have a VR presentation, have a VR presentation. But it was like,
make that a separate State of Play.
6-7 minutes of VR stuff, but you didn't tell me anything about the unit.
No, it was super bizarre. And it was, other than Resident Evil being the first thing, it was weird to put that as like your kind of basically your first thing.
Well, the natural lead-in was
Resident Evil.
Was 8's going to be VR, which
sure.
All anybody wants is to play the
VR.
Lady D part, and then they're going to shut it off. It doesn't matter.
It's true, though.
So I don't care about this jar baby shit. Let's just see her bend over a little bit. That's what people want.
That's what people want. So we'll circle back to Resident Evil 4, where I'll get on my soapbox about it. So Resident Evil 4 is one of my least favorite Resident Evils, which is extremely controversial.
Oh, man.
People just turned this thing off.
It is overhyped. It's been on every fucking platform since the GameCube. I've played through it probably like 10 times, like everyone else on this planet. I'm tired of Leon. And I knew it was going to happen. It's been rumored forever. I would like a Code Veronica remake. I don't think it's going to happen. It's too niche of a Resident Evil game. But the realization I've come to and what I want now, because we're doing 4, is if we can do 4 and we can put it at this level, why not just remake 5 next?
I don't think so.
Hear me out. Until Monster Hunter World, Resident Evil 5 was Capcom's #1 selling game for that long. I
mean, I believe it. Resident Evil 5 is my favorite one.
Is my second favorite. Yeah. So outside of the original,
right?
This game, I did go back. I've seen the trailer 3 times now. I've purposely waited for them to put up a 4K version of the trailer because what you see on the State of Play, unfortunately, it's a stream. The quality doesn't look as good. The first time I watched it, I didn't think it looked as great. But watching the 4K trailer, much cleaner image, it definitely looks fine. It's Resident Evil 4.
Right.
It's that game again.
I think the first thing I said to you was awesome. It's on its 9th system or something. It's been on everything. I get it because it is the next logical step of remakes. Because while you and I think Resident Evil people, diehard people, want Code Veronica, that's not the main line. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's 4 is everybody wants 4. But now I think you go back to Code Veronica and you save 5 just a little bit longer just because
Maybe get to like the 15th ish.
Yeah,
anniversary.
Because 5, like I like 5 a lot, but like I don't even know if I need. I don't know if 5 needs to be remade, and for that matter, I don't think 4 did either.
I don't think 4 really needed to be remade either. I mean, I say it looks good graphically. The other part of this that kind of puts me down is they've clearly come out and said they're going to change some things with the story and stuff.
Right.
It seems like they're going to try and link this more with Resident Evil 8. And I don't want to get into spoiler territory for Resident Evil 8, but you know I don't really care for Resident Evil 8 that much because of its story.
Well, the story's bad.
It's the end of it is a disaster. And so it sounds like they're going to try to link a certain character from the end of that game into Resident Evil 4. They did the same thing in that game. They linked basically the main villain of Resident Evil 8 all the way back to the guy that originally created the virus and won in that game with one fucking piece of paper you pick up. And it's like the most ludicrous thing. But also at the same time, you're going to sit here and tell me that like the idea of essentially a mold man, because that's what the character is in Resident Evil 7 and 8. He's a mold man. His old man daughter, you know, that was something that they had already thought of in Resident Evil 4. I don't know. So will I play Resident Evil 4? Of course I will.
Day one.
That's the thing. Day one.
You'll buy the replica chainsaw controller.
Do they do that again?
Good. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Shit.
Oh Jesus!
You know how hard that's going to be to if they even think about that. You know how hard that's going to be to get. Damn.
I think they do a statue of Leon fighting the chainsaw guy. That's what I think they do.
Chainsaw guy with the shot where like the blades like in his neck kind of a thing.
Yeah. That's what I think they do.
Boring chainsaw controller.
That's Resident Evil 4. That was the first thing they showed. It's weird because like I started that stream. The first thing that comes up on the screen, it was the fucking release date, like 3/24/23, and I'm like, what am I watching? I thought it started late, and then I realized like, oh, it's Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. I don't know, just kind of like something I guess I would say I didn't think about before it happened, but when it showed, I was like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Other stuff they talked about, and I'm looking at the official Sony blog. I know this is out of order.
Yeah.
For the way they put up, but Street Fighter 6.
Weird. That game looks weird. Like
it looks bizarre.
Like when it was first coming up, like I don't know about you, but like I was like, damn, dude, are they making a fight game? Because it
was a weird intro.
Because they're walking around and like doing all this stuff and it's like the new guys and I'm like, is this Final Fight? And then I kept saying how they stuff in the background.
Do you like how they tried to fix the logo by throwing some graffiti on it?
Well, they fixed it. It is different.
They fixed it a little. It's a little different.
Like I actually think it's a lot better now because like. It looks like a 6, and like if you turn it on its side, it says 6. Like, thank God they at least realized they stole a logo and fixed it.
They literally stole.
They literally stole it. Yeah,
literally stole that.
Terrible.
Just don't give me the same shit as they did for 5. I'm okay.
It's weird because like there's a leak today which apparently shows the full roster, 20 people.
Low, but they can add people. They can add people.
You can pay for,
and there'll be Ultimate Street Fighter. There'll be Super Street Fighter 6 Ultimate Street. Like they'll make 3 versions. The other, it's also interesting. The point, it's not exclusive. It will be on Xbox as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I will also say the characters, they still like they look weird again. Like their heads are small. Like
it's an odd art design.
I've loved Chun-Li for almost 25 years at this point. She's looking
weird now.
She's looked weirder. Like her legs are bigger than they've ever been. Like I looked at all like the new characters and stuff because that leak basically showed like all the new people. Like there's some cool looking people and stuff, but like there's a lot of new people, and that's really so that they can get you to pay for all the returning people you want.
Yeah,
which it's fine. Like the hub world thing, weird.
That kind of reminded me of like DOA 4 online.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of those like Dragon Ball games that came out.
Yeah.
Where you'd like load into like the
I played Fighters, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm interested, but like it's not something
it's got to be a while. They said next year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I'll just wait till, like you said, I'll wait till Ultra Street Fight or whatever the hell it is where I can at least get 10 more people. Like, I don't know.
It needs to have more than 20
now,
people.
if it had been Final Fight, day one purchase.
Again,
Cody.
They knocked out. Yeah. Again, they knocked out 4 VR titles for VR2, which is weird. Resident Evil Village, we already mentioned. The Horizon, something with Horizon, was it called?
Call of the Mountain. Like, I will say that game looks cool, but it's not something I would ever play.
It's not something I would go out and buy a headset to play. A Walking Dead game, which I really don't care.
No.
And then No Man's Sky, which I mean that's cool, but again, I don't need to.
That's a game where like VR. If you end up getting a VR, you should get, and you don't have No Man's Sky, you should get it. Because that's one of the greatest gaming success stories of the last decade.
It is. It really is. And that game is so much different now than it was.
It's so good now. Like
I've played like 70, 80 hours of that game.
At least. And I've restarted it multiple times, and I never hate restarting it.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
It's just a different experience each time.
Yeah.
The game of the show for me was the kitty cat game, Stray. That game
looks fun.
Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it looks really good.
There is some scuffle with that, which we'll get to. I put that as a separate news story. We'll talk about that, but that game continues to look fantastic. Spider-Man is the next PC PlayStation port, which is wild to me that is coming to PC. But
I mean, it isn't like it's 4 years old.
It's also
now.
It's 4 years, almost 5 years. So
it's a PS4 game. Like I get it.
It'll sell.
Yeah,
it'll sell.
They announced today that the Spider-Man franchise has sold 33 million copies.
Yeah, so like it's to the point where like they're kind of done selling it on PlayStation. So why don't you make your money elsewhere?
Yeah, two's coming. Give me some more money to make 2. Like that's what this is.
Other big game of the show for me, at least, was the Callisto Protocol, which is from the creator of Dead Space.
It's just Dead Space.
It used to be tied to the PUBG universe, but they recently said, "Now we're not going to tie it to," which is the best decision they made.
Well, because it was supposed to be like 1,000 years in the future or the past.
None of it made sense.
Like none of it. Yeah. There was no reason.
It's just fucking Dead Space again. Maybe further into the future than Dead Space, but game looks cool. It has a date of December, but if I were to bet, I'd say it's probably going to get pushed until like early next year. But that was the other game I was really excited about. The other things, I mean, they announced Tunic, which has been on Game Pass for a while, and another game coming to Game Pass, are coming to PS5 later this year. Which again, those are cool, but announcements. But why put them on this show?
The other thing too is it was weird to put them on the show, and then they had that other like rollerblade game, like the shooter kind of thing.
When I first saw it, I was like, "Boy, this doesn't look like it looks weird. Like it's really empty." That's made from the people that made those Ali games, I guess.
Yeah, so it's probably good.
It might be okay,
but it just seemed weird that like that was kind of all the indie stuff. There was
like maybe 3 indie.
They
games.
Really didn't talk about indie stuff. Normally they do.
Then they had your dating sim action adventure.
Who knows what that game is, man?
Eternites or something.
Eternites?
I don't know. The biggest mistake they made with that game showing is they showed PS4 gameplay footage, which looked rough. But then after the trailer said, it'll be on PS5 as well. I don't know why they led with
the only thing you need to know about that game is you press R2 to hold hands.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh,
press R2, hold hands
of that already.
Hold hands, press R2.
I can't wait to hold hands.
And this is where we'll get real into the thick of it. The last thing they showed was probably both one of the better things they showed and also the bigger bummer of the show. Final Fantasy 16, where they started showing like all the summons and stuff.
Okay,
so cool trailer.
So the trailer is really good because
it is absolutely.
The game seems to focus on summons a lot, and that's not something they've really done in the past.
Not really, yeah.
Like 15, they tried to kind of do it because they were like these big spectacle things, but they didn't really matter in the gameplay at all.
Exactly.
They seem to be like a focus of this game, and like each person is a summon kind of a thing. The combat looks cool. But it's like, I think you're only playing as the one guy, at least for part of it. But who knows? Like,
I think so.
But again, this game's probably minimum 60 hours. I highly doubt you're this one guy for 60 hours. It looks cool, but like for them to be talking about lately, like how it's pretty much done, and like you could play through the whole game.
You can play through the whole game.
We're just really doing like bugs and cleanup and stuff.
And then you get to the end of that trailer.
The hammer of it's summer of 23.
A year from
a year from now. And that's at like the earliest. Like, damn, dude. Maybe
I was thinking March, so that's why I was like, "Wow, this is
like that was
really far out there."
That was weird. Like, does it surprise me? Not really, but like you said, I would have thought it would have been March. Then I get another delay, now I've got to wait for the delay after this one
Yeah,
when it becomes November of 23.
Which also, again, this just speaks to like Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is so far away.
I had a thought about that today.
Okay.
And it's probably not true, but it's believable, and that's the sad part. What if there is no remake part 2?
You think they're just done?
What if they don't? Do they have to?
They don't. No.
They don't. Like, remake part 1 definitively ends. Like, I get that it's not the end of the story we know.
Yeah.
But the story of that game,
they'll make an anime movie.
Is over, right? And who's to say I don't get Final Fantasy VII and remake Kingsglaive or A Realm Reborn or Spirits Within or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. But like, I really thought about it where 16 has to come out first.
It has to.
They put out their little thing today about like all the people that are working on 16, and it's fucking everyone they have. It's everyone.
It is. It's every single person.
It's like all the people from 14. It's the guys who wrote 12. It's all the like it's everyone.
Exactly. It's so everyone. So it's like no, they're not working on. That is so far away.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing remake, part 2 has going for it is like the assets are made, like they exist.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know, man. Like the more I thought about it, the more I was like,
what if they say nah, we're not?
What if they? But the thing is like if that's let's say that's a year after this. So that puts us at 24, maybe late 24. That's 4 years
after. That's a long time for something that was a complete game when it originally came out.
And again, now this only speaks to if this one is 4 years after, how far along does this one? But how long does this one get? Because we were talking about like how far do they go? Do they go to Junon? Probably they'd have to go farther. Do they go to Wutai so you get Yuffie?
I don't know.
Maybe. Do they go to Rocket Town so you get Sid? Maybe. But that's still disc 2.
Yeah.
Like that's all like so
there's a lot.
This thing's gonna take 12 years to tell a story.
It's one of the other things you think about is like I almost think like when they started the project, they didn't think about how ambitious it was.
I don't think they did.
Until they started making it and they're like, okay, we did this, we completed it. Now we have to make this fucking open world part. Like
well, and that's the other thing is like not only do they have to tell the rest of the story we know, they have to completely change how that game played.
Yeah.
Because it can't be the same. They can't funnel you chapter based down an open world.
Yeah.
They can't funnel you to Calm and then to the Chocobo Ranch and then all like that doesn't make any sense based on how the game plays. Yeah. Unless they completely change what the open part of that map is, which they could.
I don't know what like
it's just bizarre. Like it leads into so many different ways now where like all because 16, a game that is quote unquote done, isn't coming out for at least a year.
Another year. Like
it's rough.
And that was the thing that capped it for me on the PlayStation. It was like, I guess I'll say like it wasn't a bad state of play per se. It was hey, here's all the cool shit you're gonna play next year.
Yeah,
with like maybe one or two things.
It's not state of play. It's not the state of play. It's not what's happening right now. It's what's
and that's
all
what I wanted. It was like,
year.
okay, maybe, and that's why I went into this thinking like, okay, well, Microsoft like delaying Starfield. It seems like they don't really have anything for this fall. Now that could change, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But going into this thing, I was like, Sony has a real opportunity to put something out this fall, like God of War at least or something.
But now does it even mean that Starfield and Redfall getting delayed are a bad thing? Sony doesn't have anything either.
No, it's just nobody has anything this year.
Right.
Like you're gonna be playing some indie games.
If this is your big stuff that you're talking about, like these are the heavy hitters, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, and they're all 2023 March at the earliest. You're gonna start
getting games delayed in 2023 because they can't keep.
How far is everything else?
Exactly.
It's
which
crazy.
is why I told you this generation is gonna be way longer.
Oh,
because we're still. I feel like we still haven't even started.
I don't think this one ends.
Yeah.
I think this is where it ends.
I think this is it, man.
Like this is the end. So I mean that pretty much wraps up the state of play.
Yeah.
To piggyback off the state of play, I thought this was interesting. You know, your buddy Jeff Grubb, who I find pretty consistent.
He knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about. He has his ear to the ground.
Right.
And he kind of came out and just said, like, Microsoft is planning to focus on a lot of just gameplay for their videos, which is smart. That's what they need to do. Like, show me gameplay footage.
That's not much different than what they've done in the past, though. Like they've always handled E3 a different way than.
Yeah, but I also don't want to see proof of concept stuff.
Well,
like Everwild.
Yeah,
I don't want to see stuff that isn't going to make it within the next
I don't want
year.
Let me put it this way. I don't want things announced at this that are like 5 years away.
Right.
Like I told my buddy, because like we've been playing some Gears 5 Horde mode. It's like, yes, I would like to see a Gear 6. I don't want them to announce that here unless it is within a year out. Because it's going to be an Unreal 5 game, so it's not. So don't talk about it yet. Talk about, hey, we're working with Unreal 5. That's cool. You can do that. Like, don't tell me Gears 6 is.
But talk about stuff that you can talk about stuff that you make early. I think that's okay. But the thing is like you also need to you need to tell me about all the stuff you've already told me about. Like,
I want to hear about, and it sounds like they're going to deep dive into it, that Avowed game.
Right.
Which that's is supposed to be a big one. They're going to talk about that. They're going to show apparently gameplay of that game. Obviously they're going to talk a lot about Starfield. It's just a bummer it's not coming this fall.
It is. So, the thing is like that's a bummer, but like we all know that like when that game hits,
it's going to be huge.
It's huge anyway. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Really, because you're not getting Elder Scrolls 6 for a very long time. But this is what's supposed to hold you over in between. So like all the Skyrim people are going to play that. The Redfall thing, we talked about it. I didn't even remember what that game was until that happened.
The other one I guess they're talking about is, and I forgot they even talked about this at one of the previous Xbox shows, Avalanche Studios, which are the people that made
it's like Just
the Mad Max game and Just Cause. That Contraband game. Apparently that's going to be the big out party for that game here. Is like gameplay and stuff, which that could be potentially cool.
Okay.
So, and maybe that's a 2022 game. I don't know. Like, I could see it because I think that was talked about like 2 years ago. So it's possible. But to go back on this, and this was the one that I wanted to see at this show. And then this news came out, and I guarantee you we're not going to talk about it at this show. And that is fucking Fable. Fable, they're still looking for like lead artists and stuff for that game. And that tells me that like that game is so far away. This is a game they announced in 2019.
I don't think that game makes it.
You think they just can't? You think it's the next Scalebound?
Yeah, I don't.
Where they just say, "Sorry, guys."
I don't even think it gets that far. Like Scalebound, I at least got to see a Radical Beat sponsored trailer.
I think because of what Fable is, I think it eventually will come out. I think the one that goes the way of Scalebound is Everwild, because we haven't seen that game forever. Every report that comes out on that game from Rare is a disaster report.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think that's the one where they're just
thing about Rare is like I don't know how much they ended up caring about that, just because Sea of Thieves actually took off when they
took off way more than they expected.
People still play it. It's actually like I kind of want to play it again just because I enjoyed it when it came out. Yeah, and now it's only better. So
okay,
from everything I've read, it's only better. So
I downloaded it on Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, I need to go back and play it again because like Kyle and I played a bunch when it first started. And,
when it first came out,
you could tell there was a good idea in place, and apparently, it has picked up.
It sounds almost like a No Man's Sky type situation where they just added more and more.
Not as large, not as large in scope, but
no,
but still like the same idea.
But I mean, that's the thing that I'd highlight here is like now Microsoft, the ball's back in their court. Like they could have a fantastic show, and maybe they have some stuff for this fall that's not just Scorn. So, because that's like the only game that they have announced with an actual date. So, I mean, they have the opportunity to have some really cool things this fall that maybe aren't announced. A couple of the games I keep seeing things about that seem realistic, Wolfenstein 3. I could see it. I could totally see that being announced. That's this fall.
I think I want Machine Games to come out and tell us about that. I want my Indiana Jones taste.
I don't think they talk about that.
Just show me like him.
Show me
like Indiana
whacking
Jones.
A dude with his whip.
Right. I mean, now the thing is like now, but here's the thing about Indiana Jones. The movie is in production
next year. It's next year.
They gotta try to shoot I'm not saying for release date because we all know that kills
games. I'd say like fall 2020.
They got to shoot to be within the same,
like that 6-month period,
Blu-ray release period.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's
what
I'm thinking. Fall 2023. So
right.
maybe.
But I don't necessarily. I just want like, give me like all I honestly need is like 15 seconds, and it's like him in the jungle. He comes out, tips his cap.
What if they get Harrison Ford
to do his voice? I mean,
yeah. I don't see why they couldn't. Honestly,
I don't know why they couldn't. Like,
I honestly, but like, it seems like an easy gig for him.
Tips the hat. You hear a whip crack. Fade to black. I'm out. Okay.
And let's be honest, Microsoft has the money to get Harrison Ford.
Oh, for sure.
They could do it.
If they could get him back to somehow make this 5th movie, which, for the love of God, I will go see and hate.
I don't know. I
come on,
like, I'm trying. 4 was terrible,
sucked.
but like, I'm trying to keep an open mind on this one because it has Mads Mikkelsen as the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
so.
Well, at least I know that this is the last one.
Just don't make it about aliens, and we'll be.
No fridge scenes.
When he fucking churned that skull, that's where my heart sunk. That would be like this. I could even forgive the stupid fridge thing, but when that happened at that like hour mark, I'm like, this is what's.
I hated it because people came out and they were like, I can't believe you survived that fridge thing. I'm like, that was your problem?
Yeah,
it's about fucking aliens.
They watched a fucking saucer.
He was in a flying saucer, for Christ's sake. I don't know. It was whatever. But like I said, Wolfenstein. That's a good. Like,
I need to end that trilogy.
Show that
Mecha Hitler.
Show Mecha Hitler at the end. And give me the Indiana Jones tease, and then they're making something else too.
I feel like this is the other thing my buddy and I were talking about. Like, it's been like, it seems like it hasn't been long enough, but it totally has. You could announce a third Doom here.
Yeah,
you know they're going to make a third Doom.
Those two. It
isn't this year.
No, it doesn't have to be. But like,
I think Wolfenstein absolutely could be a game that comes out this fall.
Yeah, I mean they've had to have been working on that since.
Oh, for sure.
Since Youngblood.
And I feel like that's a game also that needs to come out before Indiana Jones anyway. So put it out this fall.
Sure.
That would be huge. It's on Bethesda. See, it's on Game Pass. You don't have to buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
So. I feel like that's one of that's my prediction. That's one of their aces in the sleeve is, hey, we got Wolfenstein. It'll be on everything, but it's on Game Pass.
Yep.
So, and that's what these conferences have been more enjoyable for me is like, what do I get to enjoy on Game Pass?
Right.
When I go into these now is like, what do I not have to pay for this fall? So, I don't know. They have the potential to have a really good conference. We'll see if it turns out. I don't know. The last thing on the news, and I'll let you talk about it, Dan, because you know more about it than I do, is the new Sega mini console.
Oh, it's just a super quick thing where Sega's birthday. Like, I think it's today. And they every year they just talk about something else they're doing. And they announced in Japan there's a Sega Mini 2, basically. So it looks like the second Genesis. It's a Model 2. But the important thing about this one is it's got Sega CD games on it.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
Only announced for Japan right now, but I think we'll get them just because obviously the Genesis had that cool thing where like you could tell it's a Mega Drive and then it had extra games and all that kind of stuff. I feel like they'll do that again. So to have a mini console Sega CD stuff, awesome. Like
that'd be cool.
I'll get it when it comes out. Yeah, that's a good one. That's all that was. So it was fun.
Okay. Well, that pretty much wraps up news. So now we'll get into the emails. We had some good emails this week, some more GameStop emails, which, as we'll say multiple times on every podcast at this point, send us your GameStop emails. We enjoy them all. First one we're going to have today is from John from Cincinnati, Ohio. He says, "Hi guys, love the GameStop talk as always. I'm curious to know about the disc guarantees and how sketchy it may have gotten. For example, a few years ago, I purchased some used games and the clerk automatically added them to my total without my realization. Mm-hmm. I went back in and complained and was refunded. Did you all ever get forced into doing this, and what's the deal with it?"
Short answer, yes. But again, as we talked about before, this kind of depends on the store you shopped at. For reference, Kyle and I worked at a store that had another store in the same town, and it wasn't
very close to.
It wasn't far. It was literally like you go up one road, take a right, and it's
maybe a mile away.
Yeah, it was easy to
very easy. Yeah,
and it sounds weird to say, like, we actually weren't that competitive with each other because of the way the stores were located. We kind of serviced everybody west of us, and they kind of served everybody east of us because there was no other stores in those directions. So it kind of worked out, but that store was run very differently than ours, depending on who was the manager.
For sure.
So
for sure.
What John is talking about is we have these things at GameStop called gameplay guarantees. And I guarantee if you've been in a GameStop in the past... GPGs. If you've been in a GameStop in the past 8, 9, 10 years, you've been asking about them. They are protections for discs. It's a way for GameStop to squeeze extra money out of you for no reason. Because as most of us know, newer games are Blu-ray discs. They install... They don't really get damaged unless you damage them yourselves. Now, the important thing about GPGs is they did cover if you damaged it yourselves. And I will say from a place of honesty, there are certain customers that these are designed for. Because like, people will bring their shit back scratched, broken. The 360, a lot of you probably know about circle scratches.
To be fair, that was the easiest to sell it to. Was because
if you had a 360, scratch. You ever had a circle scratch before? Yeah, you should probably buy this. It's $2. At the time,
would depend. Yeah, it would be like $1, $2 to $3
on a new game. On a new game, it would be $3, but it would essentially save you from having to buy the game again. For a while, these existed for a while. Like we always had the ability to sell them for a while, but corporate never cared. Like never talked about it for a long time. And then all of a sudden, whoever's turn it was at the helm at corporate, because that's a revolving door, decided that was the only thing. Yeah, that was the only thing anybody should ever care about. And if you weren't getting
the flavor of the week,
but if you weren't selling them on at least, I think at the start it was only like 20% of games, you get in trouble.
Of course.
And our policy the policy Kyle knows at our store, my policy was just ask. If they say no, I don't care. Like, ask.
But see, what I remember vividly was that's not how our district manager pitched it.
No. So
and that's where this gets into the sketchy territory.
Here's the sketchy part. So it quickly became just asking wasn't enough because enough people wouldn't buy them. So here's what our district manager wanted to do. And we said it before, but he was a real piece of work. We called him the chess master for reasons we'll elaborate later. But he told us from now on, if somebody buys a game or brings a game up, let's say they brought up 3 games, automatically add them to the transaction. So $1, $2, $3, whatever the case was. And then tell them this is your total. And this is where it got even sketchier because like his phrasing wasn't like this, but in theory, what you're supposed to do was at this point tell them this is your total with their protections, and then not say anything else because they had a pin pad they could look at and see the line.
Basically, it's designed to trick the person
to trick you and to be like, "Oh, that's my total," and you would just slide, beep and leave. We never did that because.
Unless he was in the store.
Unless he was in the store, then we'd have to
because otherwise he'd question it.
Right. But if he wasn't there, no way. Absolutely no way. All I cared about was asking. I'd ask. Or for 360 games, make a pitch. There's a difference between asking and making a pitch, but you know what to do.
Very easy to make a pitch.
Yeah, you know what to do. Cartridge games also a good one for like DS games for kids. Like they step on them or like a dog took a bite, which does happen. Don't say it doesn't happen.
Way more often than you think, actually.
It happens somehow a lot. That was always a weird one. But yeah, and so we never did that. But it's important to note that the other store in our district near us did. And they even worse, they wouldn't even mention that part.
They just
would add them, sell it to you, and hope you didn't notice. Much like the emailer wrote in.
Yeah.
Now, the way we figured this out was, a lot of times people would buy stuff at their store, return it to ours, or vice versa. I say this like we hated them, but we didn't. It was actually kind of nice because it was almost like we had 2 inventories at one store because
absolutely.
If we didn't have something, you're probably willing to go a mile up the street to get it, and vice versa. And we would, ship stuff back and forth quick. Yeah, we had a good relationship with them, even though we hated how they ran the place. So some guy came in, wanted to return a game because at GameStop you can return a game within 7 days. And I look at it and he's got like the GPG thing on there. And I said, oh, okay, I'll return the game and I'll return the guarantee too, even though you weren't supposed to. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, oh, you paid for like the protection. He goes, no, I didn't. I said, well, it's right here. He goes, I didn't agree to that. And I was just like, oh, okay. And then, did some more digging. We did some more digging and found out that was just what he did all the time. That was shitty. He would do it on purpose just to boost his numbers because, he was a bootlicker. Like a lot, we said it before. Every store has one. Some stores have more than one. There are other GameStop related, we'll say, ex GameStop personalities out there on the internet that I've watched in the past. That just they'll straight up lie to you, even though they don't work at the company anymore, which is always insane. Because I have nothing to hide. I say that I shit on GameStop at a corporate level, at a store level. Yeah. I did not hate it. Me, Kyle, our friends ran a game store for multiple years and had a good time for the most part doing it.
I didn't really look at it like working for GameStop and stuff when the district manager would come.
There are things
I looked at it as it was our game store.
Yeah, it was our game store. We ran it and we had to put up with the idiots above us, but we deflected.
Or the landlord later on.
But we I managed to deflect a lot of that because the store always ran well. So I say this from like a point of like I worked at the store, but like other stores lie to you. Other stores will cheat you. They will do it without remorse because they're afraid of getting fired. Like that is a huge part of it. My tip to you as a listener, just check your receipt. The pin pad thing sucks because it only shows like 4 lines and it's almost useless because so you have to like get it, like kind of scroll up and down, but check your receipts. And especially now at the time where they're like, do you want a physical or a digital receipt? Get a physical receipt, check the physical receipt
every time
and keep it with your game. Don't be the person who goes home and throws it away and then gets mad at me when you come back in a month and I can't fucking find it. Like, it's not my problem. I gave it to you. I know I did. We would put them in the case. Our trick was
the people that would lose credit.
Yeah, you lost your card. I can't help. How am I supposed to help you with that, man? But like the trick with the receipts we always did was tuck it behind the cover art. That way it's not in the case. Yeah. Like, it's not in a case. You can't pull out your manual and it's gone. It's behind the cover art. Like that was huge.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and it was a way to keep it with it at all times, and like I would show parents it and it would blow their minds. But but yeah, just be smart. Check your receipts. They will do it to you. They're still doing it to you. GPGs cost more now. And then I'll segue into a quick story.
Yeah, they're way higher now.
They're way higher now. It's weird.
I bought a headset recently, and you can get them for headsets. It was significantly more. I don't need that.
We'll go into another quick register scam that Kyle and I were talking about, I think, yesterday. This is just like a quick
this is a good story.
A quick thing that could happen to you, so just be mindful of it. If you've ever pre-ordered something at a store and you never picked it up, your money is still there. I cannot stress this enough. If that store still exists in its same form, your money still exists. It does not go anywhere. GameStop also, people like to bitch and claim that like, oh, GameStop makes money off of that. They're not making money off of the $5 you put on Halo 4 a decade ago. They're just not.
They're not.
Because like that money isn't earned yet. Because at any time you can walk in and say, give it back to me in the form you paid. Again, important to stress that if you did reserve something at some point and you never picked up, your money is there. You can ask when you're at your store if you have anything reserved. You can have them printed out what you have on your account. That's also important too. But so there was a promotion. This is a long time ago. This was a Bulletstorm promotion where the important reason most people bought Bulletstorm was it had a Gears of War 3 beta, right? Mm-hmm. And then
it's like Crackdown 1.
Yeah, exactly. Crackdown was a Halo game, although Crackdown was a great game. Bulletstorm, not bad. But if you bought Bulletstorm, the other key to it was not only would you get a code to the beta, you'd automatically get
at GameStop at least.
At GameStop, you'd automatically get a $5 Gears of War 3 reserve. Mm-hmm.
So basically, they would pay for your reserve of Gears 5.
You'd automatically have a copy of Gears 3 held for you.
Yeah.
It's important to note that you did not have to do this. You were not forced to do this. You could have said no. You could have gotten the $5. But it was basically like you got $5 off of Bulletstorm is what the promotion was.
Yeah.
Some stores use that to inflate their numbers because what they would do is sell you the Bulletstorm, take the reserve, and then move it, put on Gears, not tell you, and then move it to something else. Or they would take the reserve and, as Kyle knows, immediately cancel it and take the $5.
Oh, wow.
Because it didn't exist. And you as a customer didn't know because you paid the price of the game. It just got split into 55 on Bulletstorm and 5 on Gears. So there was someone we knew who did that. And he wasn't able to do that for very long. Because he disappeared.
Yeah.
But again, so the moral of the story is if you buy something at GameStop, don't be afraid to buy something at GameStop, but check your receipts and just know who you're dealing with. Like, your first impression of a GameStop employee is 90% of the time is the correct one. If they seem like a car salesman, they're a car salesman. If they seem like they're just a chill person, they're a chill person. If they seem like they don't want to be there, they don't want to fucking be there. Like there are
for sure.
Now we all didn't want to be there, but there are different levels.
And I'll say the one that I live by now that I've gone into a couple times, the people that work there generally seem pretty cool and they don't care. Like I've never had a situation where they've thrown something extra on or anything like that. So
I will say I still shop at a specific one because I still know people that work there. That those numbers are dwindling and I've only got about 2 left at this point. So when they're gone, I'm probably done. But it's nice because I get them to look out for stuff for me and text me when stuff comes in. But I will say I went back to – this is when I was looking for a copy of DOA 5 just to play it because I didn't own it for PlayStation.
The PS4 version?
Yeah. And no, DOA 6. Sorry, 6 because 6 is bad. And I went into –
6 is the bad one.
the other store from ours, because ours is gone, had it.
Yeah, but the other one's still there.
I checked. They had it. I'm like, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get it. I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to leave. I walked in there. Guys like – automatically like bootlicker. I was like, fuck. Walk up, I grab the game, kind of look around, and then the worst thing that in the world that could happen was I'd recognize the customer that came in after me as a problem customer from before. So I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here now.
Yeah, exactly.
Went up, put my DOA 6 on the counter, and the guy was like, are you sure you want to buy this game? It's really bad. And I'm like, look, man, I know that. like I appreciate it, but like, yeah, please just sell me my game. Would you want the protection? No, man, I'm good. It's DOA 6 for PS4. If it breaks, I'll be okay.
I don't need the.
But like, he just kept trying to push me on everything, and it's like,
I just want to get out.
Just let me go. Like, just something like, and I get what he's doing, but like, when the first thing you tell me is that I'm making a stupid choice, but you don't like try to help me after that, like. All he did was judge that I was buying a bad game.
Yeah.
Like we would do that. Like somebody brought up a game. I'd just like, hey man, this game isn't that good. You might want to try something else. And then at least let them know the policy. But
I remember specifically when the game 7 Days to Die came out for console. And it was terrible. And there was a guy that came in, wanted to buy the new copy, and I remember telling the guy,
yes,
I'm going to be honest, you don't want to buy this because it's bad.
It's really bad.
And I'll tell you, if you go home and you play it and you open it, it's over. You can't return it. It'll be store credit. You can trade it in. It's not going to be the $30. And of course, no, I've watched videos. I'm like, the PC version you saw videos of is way different.
Yep.
A couple hours later, came back, wanted to return it.
Yep. It happened a lot.
And I didn't try to sell the guy GPG or anything like that. I was just telling him.
I was buying a used copy of DOA.
Wait for a used copy.
At least the guy could have told me it's bad, but hey, you have 7 days to return it if you don't want it. That's all that conversation ended.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it just really felt like he was judging me. And, I say that not working there anymore. Like, did I do that sometimes? I probably did. But
for sure.
But I had said nothing to this guy. Like, just here's what I want. So, yeah, check your receipts. Right. That's a pro tip.
All right, next GameStop related question. Brett from Charlotte, North Carolina says, "Hi guys, I've been enjoying the GameStop talk each week, and especially enjoyed it with Ryan last week. I have a question about manager conferences, so this one's geared towards Dan. I know that managers would get things for free from the conferences, like systems and games. Were there any scandals around this? Thanks."
There were. So to start, like, yeah, I mean.
Yes,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I got a shitload of stuff for free, like a lot.
They would give you a lot of stuff.
I got multiple PS4s.
I got a free PS4.
Yeah, like and that's funny. Sony was actually the best because they would give.
They were the best.
Lower level people stuff too.
Yeah.
Kyle got a system. At one point, they were giving out Vitas.
Games, I think.
Yeah,
I didn't get a Vita, but I got a Vita.
You weren't there in time for that. Games. But because I was still an assistant when they were giving out Vitas. They gave assistants.
All digital, but who cares?
Yeah, I mean, they would give digital games like crazy. I would get physical stuff for a long time, and then it changed to digital because it became easier for them to send that stuff out. I'll also say I haven't. Yeah, well, just like they could email those to the store. Like they didn't have to ship anything. Yeah. Well, we would get to conference. So you get to conference, and one of the things you would get is a backpack. Every year you get a different backpack paid for by a different company. And in the backpack would be random swag from all kinds of stuff. Like one year there was a copy of Metro 2033 in the bag. The only thing that sucked about that was like you either got an Xbox or a PS4 copy and you didn't have a choice. So then it became trying to swap them around with other people.
Yeah.
You would get stuff in the bag you didn't care about. So you'd be like, does anybody want the extra of this? No, I don't.
Or you take it home and give it to one of us.
Give it to one of you guys. Like, I don't care. One year they were giving out like the little like not pops, but the small figures, but they were Power Rangers. And everybody got one. So I went around, everybody was like, who doesn't want it? Like some of you don't want a stupid Power Ranger figure. Give it to me. So I got a bunch of those. You get random weird stuff. The scandals part, there's two things I can think of. So how the manager things worked is you'd go in on Sunday, that's like a free day, kind of do whatever. Monday is like your first day. You go to these classrooms and they teach you about stuff, and they're separated up into different companies. And then in the middle of the day, you'd have Ubisoft would do this like big show in an auditorium. So everybody would go there at the same time. It's a big production, all this kind of stuff. And then at nighttime, it would be like Sony would do one night, Microsoft would do one night, and then Nintendo would do like the lunch of the middle day, whatever. Those were pretty cool because they were like the big like to-dos. Nintendo ones were always good because they had like Kevin Pereira would host our rooms and stuff, which was really funny because like you think of Nintendo as like a family friendly company. In those rooms, he was not. It was weird because like he would make all of these like weird like parody videos. Like the best one we ever saw was he made one called The Bourne Luigi, and it was about him dressed up as Luigi, but it was like in a Bourne movie. Super weird. I think you can find it on the internet. I think somehow it made it out there. But
that would make sense.
But those were fun. But so the year the PS4 and the Xbox are coming out, the talk of everyone was, I wonder if they're going to give them to us because, you know, they don't necessarily have to. They're going to be hard to get, all this other stuff. So Sony goes first, and they go out at night. And like I said before, Sony gave everything away that they could. Like absolutely. I got multiple systems from them. I got the original. I got a VR. I think every Star year Wars you went, one. you got like if they were doing a promotional one, like the Star Wars one. I think there was one other one too. Something else I got too. I got a Pro
the PS4 Pro.
So they come out and then they end the show with, and you know they would always be like, these are the hot games they have coming out, and you're all getting a copy of this, and you're all getting a copy of that, and then EA, and then like, and thanks to our partners of EA, you're all getting a copy of Need for Speed or Madden or whatever. So like you just like we would keep track of it on our phones, like ringing this stuff up, and then we're like, man, they're giving us like 7 PS4 games, and then so at the end, this was when our buddy Sean was there, PlayStation Sean, you know what was his last name?
I know. Oh gosh, I can't remember that.
You know who I'm talking about. But like
Sean Layden.
Yeah, the big dude.
Yeah, I like that dude.
The guy. Yeah. So he was out there, and he would, and he goes, "Well, you're getting all these PS4 games. I wonder what you're going to play them on." And then then the room like explodes. Everybody's like, "Oh, we're getting PS4. Yeah." So that was cool. So the scandal part comes in the next day. when it's Microsoft's turn to go. And before the show starts, district managers are going around to everybody and going, no matter what, don't boo Microsoft. Don't boo them. Don't boo a single thing.
This was after the Xbox One stuff.
This was this was after, like they had the shit reveal and like everybody had a negative attitude and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And they're all like, we swear to God, don't boo them. Like, you will, if we catch you booing, you're in trouble. You will be removed from the room. And this is a room of 5,000 people. And they were serious. So we're all like, what the hell is that about? And then so Microsoft starts doing their show and blah, blah, blah. And at the very end of it, it might not have been at the end. It might have been somewhere weird in the middle. But they said, and you're all going to get an Xbox too. And we're like, oh, wow. Because it got slipped later, I guess, that they weren't going to, or that it was supposed to be saved for like a different show or something.
Okay.
But it wasn't supposed to be announced yet, or something happened. But because Sony went first and did it, all anybody was talking about at the show was Sony, and then Microsoft had to go through like their little classroom things, and everybody were just like, well, who cares? Because they didn't ever announce them in the rooms.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a scandal, just because like,
yeah, they were forced to.
It was almost like they were forced to give us one, which I think they would have anyway, but it was kind of weird. The only other real like thing that would ever happen with like conference gift is there was one rule. And Cal knows the rule. If you got something for free, don't sell it, and don't fucking return it to the store for cash.
Oh, and there's always someone who did it.
Yeah, you were free to trade it in and get whatever the store credit was if you didn't want it. Like for me, I gave it away. Who the fuck cares? I don't care about Metro, whatever, for whatever you're taking.
Yeah, there'd always be at least one or two games you come back and go, do you want this? I don't care. Yeah. I think you gave me The Witcher, the one.
I gave you The Witcher because I didn't care. It's some other stuff. But there was always somebody who would return something or you'd sell it for cash. I know another manager who would routinely sell things for cash and just never got caught. That was like the scandal. You get in a lot of trouble for that. If you got caught. It didn't happen a lot, but there were some idiots who would like return it to the store. Like it was so far
as the dumbest thing you could do, though.
It went
They're going to catch you right away.
Well, it went so far as to I reserved the day one Xbox One because I wanted the controller, and at the time I wanted the stupid.
I still have the controller.
Yeah, I have one now, but like the achievement and all the shit that went with it. Yep. But then they gave me a basic one. And I was like, and we were all of us were like, can't we just return it? Can I return it and use it to buy, like pay the difference towards mine and then sell that one?
No, having to trade it in. I
had to trade it. So I had to eat like half.
Oh man.
It was stupid because
you got it.
Yeah, I got but it was just like one of those things where it was like, dumb. Why couldn't I just, I don't get it. Like, why can't I just do it? Because we still have an Xbox One to sell and I'm paying you more money. But it was like, well, it's Microsoft gift. They tried to argue that it was like tracked by serial numbers, which was horse shit, but whatever. So some scandals, but I got multiple thousands of dollars worth of stuff every year.
Yeah.
But as I told Kyle,
I always laughed every year.
As I told Kyle, that's my bonus.
That is exactly what it is.
I didn't get a bonus.
You really got a huge bonus. So your bonus was video game.
Yeah.
So
didn't have to spend it.
Next question we have, it's actually a 2-part question. I'll run through it and we'll answer it. Brad from Raleigh, North Carolina says, hi, gents. I have to say I've enjoyed your podcast as a new listener. I found it after hearing your episode with Ryan, and I'd gone back and listened to the previous episodes. I have 2 questions if you all have time. Both are unrelated. So the first question is, at the GameStop you guys worked at there for quite some time. I'm curious what you all thought was the best promotion you ever ran and what was the worst. That's his question number 1.
Yeah.
Second question is more related to our podcast. Secondly, I noticed after a few episodes, you had a previous member of the cast, Eric, leave and he's replaced by Matt. I'm just curious what happened to Eric. Is everything okay there? I love the banter you'll have with Matt. I was just wondering if there was maybe more of a story there. So I'll briefly answer that one because it's not a huge deal at all. Eric was on our podcast, I think, for 6 episodes. He was a person that worked with us as well as Dan and I. We all worked at the same GameStop. He just has stuff going on in his life. He doesn't have time to do the podcast. That's all it is.
He's fine.
No bad blood, nothing like that.
We talk to him all the time. We told him if he ever wants to come back, it's a 4-person pod. Like, we don't care. It's just,
we don't care.
This is
we
mainly,
got the room.
Yeah, this is mainly for us.
Stay away, Eric.
Well, no, you're number 3 now. He goes back to number 4.
Yeah, so he's number 4 now.
No, but like, I mean, we still talk to him all the time. He's more than welcome. I mean, I'm happy we have Matt here just so we have more people on. And like,
it's not just the internet.
Yeah.
Although we could easily run a 2-hour GameStop podcast without any questions.
But no, I mean, this whole podcast kind of started as an excuse for us to kind of like hang out and talk about games. And
especially in, a time of, I guess, still in a pandemic.
Yeah. Like we all, we all moved away from each other. Like, and we can't just get together.
Dan and I are the people that live the closest.
And
we live
almost
about 45 minutes apart.
Almost, could be an hour
Matt's
away. Matt's in a different state. Eric's in a different state.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where, like, we used to hang out and watch wrestling or play board games or play video games, all that kind of stuff. And it's just, life gets in the way. And he doesn't have time. And
especially most of everybody has kids. I think I'm the odd man out there. But
but so, he just didn't have time. He had other stuff going on.
Yeah, no bad blood at all. Or
he'll I'm sure he'll pop up again soon. Maybe we'll force him.
At some point. We'll force him to come back for an episode.
All right.
So first question,
Why don't you go ahead first?
Best promotion and worst promotion. I mean, I'm trying to think of like specific promotions that were geared towards a certain game. I mean, obviously the best promotions we ever ran in terms of like making money, buy two, get one.
That was hands down the best promotion GameStop ever did.
Especially in like, I'd say the holiday time period, because if you got that around like Christmas time or like Black Friday, there was a really good chance you could get stuff that just came out used cheaper.
Right. And the promotion was
really easy to
The promotion was good as long as you were smart about it. People don't understand how that promotion works. Like if you buy 2 used $50 games, pick a $50 used game for a free one. Don't pick a $10
$dollar game.
You get the occasional asshole who either didn't know how it worked or knew how it worked and was just a dick and would buy 2 $10 games and try to get a $50 game for free. And we have to tell them, no. That's not how. Like, how would that work? How would that work anywhere?
Or the other favorite of that would be the person that would buy two get one and then try to keep the free game.
Yeah, they tried to return. You'd buy 2, you get 1 for free, and then people try to return the other 2, and then we would charge them for the third one. They'd be like, "What do you mean that was free?" It's like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Like, what's the matter with you? It's like, you think you found some magical loophole no one else has ever found? Get out of here.
You'd be surprised how many people, because they'd still charge. What did they charge you? Like crazy. A penny or something to?
Yeah, a lot of times it would make the third game a penny because there was something like it had to be charged something for probably tax purposes or some stupid thing.
Yeah.
But
promotion.
But that's why we had to have your receipt. If it was a buy to get one, otherwise you'd get store credit back. That was easily the best promotion, though, as long as you were smart about it, because for a very long time, it only happened like twice a year. It was rare.
Yeah. It usually be like in the summer and then a holiday.
Yeah, you get an early summer one or like a tax time one and then a holiday one. Because GameStop, for some fucking reason, thinks that tax time is like their fucking Super Bowl because everybody who gets a tax return is going to go in and blow $800 on used PS3. I'm like, shut up.
No.
The worst ones, other good ones that people didn't pay attention to were like, if you knew how to work the trade promotions, you could be a god at that place if you paid attention to what the rules were and how it worked. Mm-hmm. Most people didn't and would just bitch about trade prices, but those people don't know how to run what a fucking business is. So.
If you looked, especially like, I mean, obviously there's always loopholes with certain games and stuff, but like if you ever looked or paid attention, I mean, you could make a lot of store credit.
You could get over $50 on trading in something that had come out like
for like Mario Kart for Wii.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
You had to be smart about it. Like the biggest ones were like the ones where it was like trade 2, get an extra $10, trade 4, get an extra $30 or whatever.
Yeah.
But they only had to be worth like $3. So if you were smart, you could buy the right games.
Yeah, I took advantage of that a lot.
It was easy to do.
Was there because it's just like, okay.
Bad promotions were always the ones that just got confusing. The worst ones were it would be like, oh, it's 4 used games for $40 as long as they're on this list. Here's the list. And then they'd read the list.
And guess what? The list sucks.
And guess what? The list sucks, and we don't have half the games on the list.
Also, as someone who most of the times had to change out that bin for those lists.
Fuck that bin.
The lists suck. Like they were 10.
Yeah, they were it was overly complicated. Like we didn't have the games on the list. Like we didn't have half of them. So like you'd have to put the list up and they'd be like, "Do you have any of these games?" No. Do you know where I can get them? No. Like
maybe the other store.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Like it eventually got to a point where I think at one point they were just like, it's 4 for $40 if the games are 15 or under, and it was like,
yeah,
then they
started to wise up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
those were the worst ones. Any ones that had weird rules or weird restrictions, because they were just hard to manage. The only
thing I think of at the time was like when they did that brief like $58.99 for a used copy of this.
That was rough.
That wasn't a promotion.
$56.99. Yeah. The other really bad quote unquote promotions were they would advertise bundles that were just the prices of the things added together.
But they try to make it look like you're getting some value.
Like they do it with new stuff with like PS5s to force you to buy stuff so that they're not losing money, which I get. But they would pull it on used stuff too. It was really weird. Like they would add used prices together.
Like you can get a used 360 and like 3 fucking games and this and that, but it's like you're not saving anything.
Right. It's literally the cost of the items added together, so it's not a savings.
Yeah.
So those did that a lot. Those were the worst.
Those were always stupid. So all right, and then final email, which is not GameStop related, but a retro related thing, which will be fun. We can all participate in this one. Let's see here. Ian from Portland, Oregon, retro capital of the United States. Hi, guys. My question is about the recent scandal in the retro community. So before I continue this, I'll say I didn't know anything about this until this email hit. There has been a recent huge scandal with big box PC game collectors through a Facebook group where a member moderator scammed these people for years. What are your thoughts on this? And have you ever been scammed being retro collectors? Thanks. Love the podcast. So I dug a little bit into this, and what I know of it, apparently it's a moderator of a popular Facebook group that popular for big box PC collectors. And you have to ask yourself, how many collectors out there are collecting big box PC games?
Oh yeah.
Not many. And the easy reason for that is like, do you know how much space those games take up? They're big fucking boxes. So, but like, popular YouTube, like I guarantee you Metal Jesus, popular YouTuber, loves big box PC games. He probably was scammed in this because I know he's talked about being in these groups before. But it's a moderator of that Facebook group that's who got caught. Apparently it's a guy out of Italy. I guess he's been doing it for like several years.
Right.
And the only way somebody found out is they opened one of these games that were sealed to try and play it on a retro PC they had.
It's blank.
And discovered it's blank.
Yep.
That's such garbage, man.
And then they went back and they were like looking at the manuals, and the manuals don't make sense. They're printed on wrong paper. My favorite thing about the whole thing is one of these fake games is a fucking WATA graded game, which just goes to prove to you, to everyone that is listening, listen to these words. WATA is a scam. The entire company is a scam. They make up their own arbitrary rules about what's graded what, seal it in a fucking case so you can't ever touch it again, and then just tell you it's worth $8,000. They're a scam. Mm-hmm. They are laundering your money. Like, it is ridiculous. One of these games is WATA graded as real. And now WATA comes out and they're like, well, we take it very serious. We're going to look into it.
Wasn't it one of the Ultima games?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Ultima 1. Yeah,
because that was the big thing for a lot of these collectors, right, was the Ultima, which is a very hard to get series.
That's still such trash, like that a person would do that in general.
So it's not surprising though. Like clearly it worked. Clearly it worked for a long time, and he found the right group of people to scam. I was telling Kyle, like, the red flags on this are insane. He had multiple copies of multiple hard-to-find big-box PC games.
You got a box of like 30 copies of Ultima 6.
I bought a factory-sealed case back in 1982, and they've been sitting in my garage. Like, no, it doesn't happen.
In Italy?
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen. So, like, you have to be careful about this, especially the older the stuff you buy, the smarter you have to be. And, like,
yeah,
I get that this guy probably had references out the ass because all these people had bought it, but like, to not question this, I did not check
to this point. Yeah.
To not like check his sold history. Like, it is insane.
It's a ridiculous.
Talking about being scammed as a retro collector, Kyle's got 2.
I got 2. I got a fun one and a not so fun one. So the fun one is, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. There was like a 2 to 3 week period. I got on that Whatnot train like real hard.
Mm-hmm.
I have not loaded up Whatnot in like 6 weeks.
Yeah, I'm out.
It was a very much like, man, I was into it really hard until I spent like $100 and I'm like, I'm out. But I got, and this is funny. I think this is funny. I bought a lot of Xbox games, like original Xbox games, as a group. So I bought a lot of these, and in this lot was a copy of what's that game? Counter-Strike.
Yep.
I want to say Counter-Source for some reason. Counter-Strike. And so when I looked at it on the stream, it's totally, and I don't blame anyone for this. The guy that was running this specific stream, he's a guy that buys and resells storage units. He had no fucking idea what he was talking about. And that's why I bought the shit, because I knew it was cheap. And I was like, I'm getting a deal. And every other game in this lot that I bought was correct. But I'm going through the lot of games, and I get to Counter-Strike. And I look at it, and from the spine, you don't really pay attention. I pull it out. I look at the top. It says fucking X Gems on it.
So good. One of the best things.
Open it up. The Xbox logo is upside down on the disc. It's like a shittily printed like CD copy disc. I actually I'm gonna be streaming some, because I have a ton of Xbox pickups. I just hit a retro store 2 weekends ago, so I got to do a stream on my YouTube channel testing all those. I'm thinking about just sticking that disc in the Xbox and see if it does anything.
Oh, if it was like a burn disc, it somehow works.
I want to know. So like, if it's something else, or if it actually is kind of.
You know what you should do? You should put, well, if you have one, you should put it in your computer. It's got to have data on it.
I don't have a computer that has.
I know. Not even like the last computer hanging around.
Not one that has a disk drive. The only laptop we have is a Chromebook. So. But yeah, no, the last two computers I've built don't have disk drives. But I'm gonna try it. I'm just for fun on that stream. I'm gonna pop it in and see. I think it's hilarious. I don't care.
Maybe it's like maybe it's a CD and you can rip it to your Xbox.
There you go. I fucking saw it. I laughed my ass off. I sent it to everybody I knew. Like, look at this fucking shit. Like, I didn't.
It's a funny thing to have. Yeah,
I paid. I think for the entire lot, I paid like $10. So who cares? Like, it wasn't a loss. The other one I have, which Dan knows as well, this one hits me a little harder. So this is a game I've actually been scammed on twice. Once myself, and my girlfriend was once. I don't own, as I've said on this channel before, or on the podcast before, I'm trying to get a complete collection of every Castlevania game. I have the fucking hardest one to get, which is a sealed copy of the TurboGrafx,
the CD.
Belmont's Revenge. Yeah, the CD of Rondo of Blood. Like, the hardest one you can get. But for whatever reason, I don't have Dracula.
And you've got the 64, the second one boxed. 64 game,
you
have the hard
ones.
I
have the hard ones, but for whatever reason, Dracula X continues to elude me to this day. So the first time I went to buy this game was when GameStop first started their retro thing. And they were hard promoting, like, oh, we have this special center, we check all these games, and we test them and everything.
Because how it worked, really quick, how it worked is when we get games traded at the store, we had to send everything back to be verified. Because, and this is important to this story, you cannot trust GameStop employees to know what is being traded in. Aside from people like me and Kyle and a select other, like our store, we could tell, but continue.
So and this is the one thing I'll say, at least with GameStop, you have a safety net. If it's trash, you can return it and get your money back.
Right.
Like,
and that's why we took risks on certain things.
And that's why we took risks on certain things. Like, hey, I took that risk on Kodelka.
Yeah, I bought what I buy, Demon's Crest, because it showed up, and I was like, I got to give it a shot. And then sure enough, it was perfect.
So I get this copy of Dracula X, and it already seems kind of off as I pull it out of the box. And I realize the cartridge itself is like half fucking open. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing I'm like, there's something wrong here. So I pop it into my system. It's Action Replay Football.
Super NES. It's Super NES Play Action Football.
Yeah. Super not Dracula X. So, and then obviously, I ended up using that tool thing or whatever. We opened the full thing up. You can see the board and everything, but that was sent back. The second time was my girlfriend, and this is why I've kind of told her to at least stop trying to get cartridge stuff on eBay for me for like Christmas and stuff, because it's just too hard. She's done this a couple times, but specifically Dracula X came, and it's like the most worst like label printing, and she doesn't know how to tell a fake from a real one, this stuff. So that was a Christmas where I'm like, thanks for the thought, but
if you don't know how to spot them, it's tough. It's funny though, because like Kyle sent me a picture of the one that ended up being the football game, and immediately I was like, that's not Castlevania. Just looking at the picture, because some people probably know, but there are two different molds for Super Nintendo carts. They have different fronts on them, and that one was the wrong one. and I could just tell like from the second he sent it to me. Labels will be askew. Like you said, it was kind of open because someone had popped the screw and broke it. Yeah. For people that don't know, like the most important thing, especially these days for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, even Game Boy Advance games, sometimes DS games, is to actually like physically open it. You can get a tool set from Amazon for like $10.
Oh, it's
to open the cards, and trust me, if you're even thinking about retro collecting, even basic titles, it is worth doing. You can find pictures of what boards are supposed to look like online.
Absolutely.
If you're buying in like a cell group, a lot of times if you don't post a board pic, your thing just gets deleted because people aren't here for that shit. Yeah, so like it's tough. Like DS games are frequently counterfeited, and it's funny because at GameStop I was kind of known amongst other managers and like our inventory circle because
you're really good.
I'm really good at spotting DS. I can tell you if a DS game is fake or not from a picture of the front of it. That's it. That's all I need.
Oh wow.
For the most part, sometimes I'll need a picture of the back to verify, but I could walk into a store. Any store, go to their DS case and find at least 2 fake ones because
easily.
They have specific codes on the bottom, which is start with 3 letters. There's 4 letters in between. And then if it's an American game, it'll end USA. The 4 letters in between have to match the first 4 letters on the back of the cart. That's how you know if it'll be taken apart or if the label's been swapped. Pokemon games, if you hold them up to a light, they show a different color. The number one thing that I can see and a lot of people don't is the font, the literal font on the DS game of that code is if it's fake, it's generally wrong. Like it's not quite right. And you can tell if you just look at another real game next to it. But Pokemon games are bad. Mario games are bad.
Pokemon were the worst ones.
Yeah. Like if you're collecting or you're thinking about getting into collecting, especially Pokemon games for DS, do yourself a favor. Look up how to tell fakes apart. We talked about Metal Jesus before. Him and Kelsey did it's old now, but they did a good.
But
did a good video of like how to spot fakes. Especially on like Super Nintendo carts. Again, talking about like labels will feel wrong. They'll be off center. All kinds of stuff.
Somebody else put it on.
Just be smart about it. Like it's tough when. Especially if you're buying it online or at a trade show or at a store that maybe necessarily doesn't care. But just be
I'm
smart.
at the point now where like I just look for it when I go to a store or something for Dracula X. I'm not going to buy it online. Like I don't trust that.
I wouldn't anymore.
I go like we just went to that Onet gaming store a couple 2 weekends ago, and that was one where I was like, I'm gonna look because I trust these people. I've been there a couple times now.
Right.
Like. They're not going to put something fake out.
Yeah, at this point, like if you really want that, it's just like when we go to MGC next year, like that's you're going to have to save and just bite it and just do it.
I would just take that as separate money or something. And
that or like
somebody has it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd
almost rather buy it at GameStore because at least there I can be like, can I put this in a system? And they're going to do it. They're not going to care.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for something like that. But
especially if they want a little story time, I can tell them the story.
Yeah, hey, there you go. Let me tell you about the other 2 times I've been burned.
Tried to buy this game and it got fucked over.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that's going to do it for our podcast this week. So as always, send all your questions in to podcast572@gmail.com. Especially the GameStop ones.
Yeah.
We love
retro stuff too.
Retro stuff too, like for sure.
Current stuff too. Like all 3 of us collect. We all have a lot of games for multiple systems, so like we all know quite a bit about a lot.
And this was the first time I've been to a retro store since the pandemic started, so it's been a while for me.
I haven't been to a store. I went to MGC.
You went to MGC
that it got rescheduled in November. I didn't go to the last one. I went to one before it, but so ask us that. Like we all collect. Even you could. I mean, hell, you could even talk about figures and toys a little bit too if you really want to. I got some statues.
I got a nice little wall right now.
Yeah, Matt's got a lot. I've got a lot. Matt can see it over my shoulder.
Other quick thing I'll just mention too. I've mentioned on the channel before, but I don't think I've ever plugged it. So I do have a YouTube channel. Like I said, I am going to stream probably Monday night, those Xbox games. So if you want to check that out, that's YouTube/Marble Gallery. I think that's what it is. Just look for Marble Gallery on YouTube. You'll find me. But I'm going to do that on Monday night. I'm going to be streaming. I'm saying it's like a stack 20 games deep.
Oh boy, you didn't even tell me what you got. Now I'm gonna have to tune in.
You know what's number one on the top? You're gonna like this.
What?
The Bethesda made 2003 or maybe 2004 Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yes. The other
for
Pirates of the Caribbean game.
I never played it. I showed it to her. Obviously, my girlfriend, huge Johnny Depp fan. That's why I got to watch every part of this trial.
But that's like the weird entertaining. That's like the weird other one, right?
It's the weird other one. Yeah. I've never played it.
Okay.
So I want to play it. That's top. That's literally the top of the stack. Okay. But I have like 20 games or so on that list, including the X Gems.
Hey.
So we'll try it.
I want to see what that does.
I don't know, but you can certainly check that. I'm going to be doing that Monday night. So if you want to check that out, certainly do so. But I said, as always,
last thing I want to say, I just want to say thank you to the people who did email us, especially if you found us after Ryan's podcast, or Ryan plugging us. Like, again, it was really awesome having him on. I think we'll probably look to have him on again.
We will for sure. Probably. I'm thinking later this summer.
Months,
give him some time. I know he's got a lot of shows.
He's got a lot of shows coming up. But thanks for finding us. Thanks for listening to the back catalog.
For sure. Especially some of those early episodes. I know were a little rough because we were still learning how to get this going.
Yeah, and we weren't really on a schedule, and it was just kind of it is what it is. But like
on a pretty solid one now.
Yeah, but I really appreciate everybody who listens. Like, again, this is just three guys hanging out, talking shit, and you don't have to, but we love that you do.
Yeah. So
thanks.
All right, but again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you all next week.